Family cultivation. My mobile phone traveled through time. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. I'll protect you. Wait a minute, I'll check your body, Xuanji said, and stepped forward to grab her hand. A trace of true energy was injected into her body, and he checked her body's condition. He only felt that a mysterious power was awakening in her body, which was very strong, but also very weak. Strong, it means that it will be very strong in the future. Weak, it means that it is very weak now. The physical constitution is initially awakened in the foundation building period, and the physical constitution is still relatively weak, just a little stronger than the ordinary body. Only by continuous practice, the physical constitution will continue to enter the small success, great success, and perfection, until the bonus of the physical constitution is completely consumed. After checking it again, Yifixu was asked to practice the exercises again. Just by practicing the exercises a little bit, a trace of spiritual energy immediately flowed into the body at a very fast speed. Not only that, when practicing the exercises, the Dao rhyme on her body was increasing, as if she had become the dwelling of the Dao, and was born to be close to the Dao. This is the innate Dao fetus, Xuanji said, but his mouth was sour. The innate Dao body not only increases the speed of one's own cultivation, but also breeds the innate Dao pattern in the body, which is born with the Dao, and can increase one's own understanding. This kind of physique has no obvious advantages in the early stage, but it becomes more and more terrifying in the later stage. There was once a cultivator who awakened his spiritual roots, but he only had 5 spiritual roots. According to reason, he was almost hopeless, and he could only reach the 5th level of key training after a lifetime of hard practice. But this cultivator had an innate Dao fetus. With the help of his physique bonus, he was comparable to 4 spiritual roots in the key training stage, and barely succeeded in building the foundation at the age of 70. But after entering the foundation building stage, with the bonus of physique, the cultivation speed was comparable to 3 spiritual roots. In the purple mansion stage, the cultivation speed was comparable to 2 spiritual roots. In the golden core stage, the cultivation speed was comparable to that of an alien spiritual root. In the nascent soul stage, the cultivation speed was comparable to that of a heavenly spiritual root. All things have a ray of hope. If a cultivator has 5 spiritual roots, he is almost hopeless, but if he has an innate Dao fetus to increase the speed, he has hope to change his fate. Innate Dao fetuses are rarer than heavenly spiritual roots. Is the innate Dao fetus strong? Yifixu asked with a smile. Very strong, second only to the immortal body, Xuanji said. That is to say, it is not the strongest. I thought it was the top physique. Yifixu sighed. Bang. Xuanji gave him a brain collapse. What are you thinking about? Why don't you think about going to heaven? Xuanji said. Physique is important, but also unimportant. There are tens of thousands of people with natural spiritual roots, special spiritual roots, and special physiques in the world, but how many can truly become Yuaning's engine? This involves the destiny in the dark. Luck. I will seize the luck of heaven and earth, become a Yuaning's engine, or even become a god. Yifixu said firmly. Protect my brother until the end of time. I hope so. Remember to hide your identity outside, Xuanji said. The strong become stronger, and there are traces to follow. The rise of any powerful cultivator requires extremely huge resources. It is not enough to rely on the intake and exhalation of spiritual energy. It is also necessary to purchase various elixirs, to improve the cultivation and break the bottleneck. The Danliang sect controls the amount of resources and the direction of the resources. It can control the speed at which the cultivators in the 12 counties become stronger and the number of strong people. But only the spiritual roots of heaven are exceptions, and the innate Dao fetus is also an exception, because they only need very few resources to continue to become stronger, and they have very low dependence on external objects. In the dark, they are destroyers of order, challengers of order, and very dangerous. When you go out, remember to wear a vest. I know. I'm usually in Changgyuan Mountain and rarely go out, Yifixu promised. Lu Xuanji said, "It's good to know. Your talent is suitable for the way of hiding." The way of hiding? I don't like it at all. Yifixu began to shake her head and said, "When you are alive, you must live happily, live with a domineering attitude. Cultivate immortals, seek longevity, prove eternity, and seek the great way, but many times it is no longer the body and lifespan that are shackled, but the soul. If the mind is not smooth, living in depression, the mind cannot be relaxed, the mind cannot be smooth, and you are depressed all year round. What is the meaning of such longevity? What is the point of cultivating immortals? And what is the way to prove? You still haven't grown up, you are still a child." Lu Xuanji said, and subconsciously stepped forward to touch. Yifixu also lowered her head and leaned in his arms so that it would be convenient to touch her head. Feeling the woman so close, smelling her fragrance, feeling her breath, but there was no trace of charm, no trace of emotional waves. Maybe it was too familiar, but there was no feeling. "I don't want to grow up," Yifixu said. "If the price of growing up is that the dragon slayer becomes a dragon, the price of growing up is to learn to give up. The price of growing up is to lose courage and become timid and cowardly. The price of growing up is to shrink and get pleasure. I would rather never grow up." After talking for a while, Lu Xuanji left. The door of the cave closed again. Yifixu sat on the Taoist platform with a solemn expression, without saying a word, just thinking. The cave became extremely quiet, with a hint of coldness in the quiet. "Brother, you protected me in the past, and I will protect you in the future. You only have 3 spiritual roots, which seems to be a bit difficult." Yifixu looked solemn, thinking about the future. She was a little worried about her brother. Her brother only had 3 spiritual roots, and he did not awaken any special physique after entering the foundation building stage. He was just a mortal body. Such qualifications were considered geniuses in the eyes of outside cultivators. But in her eyes, it was a little worse. With such qualifications, the probability of achieving the purple mansion was only 1 level. As for the probability of achieving the golden core, it was very low, or even impossible. The only chance to get her brother to advance to the golden core was to use resources. Over the years, why have many cultivation families in the 12 counties been unable to produce golden core cultivators? Is it because the cultivators in those families have poor qualifications and have no chance to enter the golden core stage? Not at all. Instead, all the resources are monopolized by the Dandayang sect, and the resources of those families are not enough to train a golden core cultivator. Key training, foundation building, purple mansion, golden core, etc. These 4 realms have great demand for resources. As long as there are enough resources, even 5 spiritual roots can become a golden core. The strongest spiritual root is not invincible in the same realm, but it is efficient in absorbing spiritual energy, with low resource consumption and fast upgrade speed. There is no need to take various elixirs, and only need to inhale and exhale spiritual energy to advance quickly. Even if the Dandayang sect monopolizes most resources and resources are insufficient, it can still advance quickly. After awakening the innate Dao fetus, it resonates with the heaven and earth at all times, and responds to the Tao at all times. The speed of cultivation increases exponentially, and it only takes 30 years to advance to the 9th level of foundation building after 3 years of advancement. Another 20 years of comprehension is enough to break the shackles and enter the purple mansion realm. By then, I can protect my brother. However, a purple mansion cultivator in his 80s will attract the imagination of some top cultivators, which is very unsafe. It is best to refine an avatar to walk outside on my behalf and attract the attention of some cultivators. Chapter 52. Return to Wujiafang Market. She's grown up. Walking out of the cave, Lu Xuanji's mind was fluctuating. The little girl of the past had surpassed him. Maybe in a few hundred years, she would be another giant and giant. When he arrived at the courtyard at the foot of the mountain, he saw his mother. At this time, his mother Yizinlan was only at the 4th level of key training. The drag of the 5 spiritual roots made her progress very slow. "Mom, I'm here," Lu Xuanji said. His mother was a little happy and asked some questions, and Lu Xuanji also answered. They talked about some family matters and some things that happened in Changyuan Mountain. There were few monks in the Lu family and the population was sparse, So under the order of the family, they encouraged childbirth, especially those monks with 5 spiritual roots, who had poor qualifications and had no future. After practicing hard for a lifetime, since there was no future, they would work hard to marry wives and concubines and give birth to more descendants. The probability of the offspring of monks having spiritual roots was much higher than that of ordinary people. The family introduced various policies to encourage monks with 5 spiritual roots to get married and give birth to offspring. The number of newborns in the family increased, and various family matters also increased. Xuanji listened carefully and finally told his mother that he was going to travel down the mountain recently to buy some refining materials. Xuanji, there are some things I don't want to say, but I still want to say it. I miss your elder brother and second sister. As his mother said, mist rose in her eyes. Your elder brother has no spiritual roots and has come to live in the mortal world. Your second sister has 5 spiritual roots and has limited prospects. After living in the family for 10 years, she went to the secular world to manage the family business. I don't know how they are now. Mother, I'll take you to see them. Xuanji said. No need to trouble you. If you are done with your work, go and see them by the way. Mother said, remember to be careful outside. Got it? Xuanji nodded. After explaining, he returned to the cave, hung a sign of retreat at the door of the cave, and Xuanji left the cave quietly, joined a convoy, and left quietly. Only the great elder, Yi Fixu, and his mother Yi Xinlin knew that he had left. As for the rest of the family, they all thought that he was still in retreat in the cave. In this way, he left Changjiuan Mountain and headed for the distance. On the way, Xuanji used some materials to make up his appearance. His black and white hair were mixed together, and his face was a little old. He disguised himself as a 50-year-old grandfather. His aura was also restrained, turning into the appearance of a 9th level key training, pretending to be a casual cultivator. Low-key and safe. After leaving the Lu family, he first went to Wujia Fang Market. After the foundation building, many inconspicuous spells became extremely powerful. Using the wind control technique, Xuanji's body merged into the wind, and with the help of the wind, he flew quickly. His feet were 1 foot off the ground, flying quickly. The speed was so fast that it reached 100 meters per second, which could be called a human-shaped high-speed rail. At this speed, it can be maintained for 3 days and 3 nights, with an endless supply of mana and very little loss. Swish. Between the mountains, a figure moved forward quickly. Along the way, Xuanji saw some farmers hoeing, some children playing, some women washing clothes, and various passers-by. They are all mortals, living ordinary lives, neither happy nor sad. About a day later, Wujia Market was in sight. At the entrance of Wujia Market, there was a simple illusion array. This illusion array was very low, and any cultivator at the first level of key training could see through it. But if a mortal encountered such an illusion array, he would be trapped in a ghost wall, constantly taking detours, and could not enter the market at all. In this world, mortals and cultivators are not very isolated. Many mortals are not strangers to each other after contacting cultivators. But for various reasons, they are isolated from each other and divided into 2 classes. Walking into Wujia Market, it seems that there is no change. There is not much difference from 5 years ago. It seems to be the same. This world changes too slowly, and civilization is almost stagnant. It looks the same for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, and hundreds of thousands of years. Walking into the market, Xuanji walked around and observed casually, recording some shops and asking questions. Immediately, a clerk greeted him and talked about the products in the shop. In the shops, the main items sold were Jade Emperor Ice, Jade Emperor Pills, Hematite, Spirit Stones, Talismans, etc. These were some very common resources, mainly suitable for the needs of key training realm cultivators. As for the higher level resources, there were almost none suitable for the foundation building key. The resources for the foundation building period needed to be in the more advanced Fang. Those who came to the Fang market were mainly in the key training period, with some foundation building period occasionally appearing. Walking in various shops, Xuanji asked, bought materials, and bargained. Soon, there were more spiritual minerals and spiritual woods in his storage bag. Lightning struck wood. Red spiritual iron, black spiritual iron, white spiritual iron, black spiritual iron, mithril, etc. About 18 kinds of materials were complete. The materials for the Lihuo sword are complete. The wings of freedom still lack a pair of wings of the foundation building monster. The bush iron furnace still lacks the heaven crystal, the jade of creation, and the wood of vitality. Xuanji thought, and walked to the Wu family old store, which was the central area of this Fang. Guest, what's your name? Yifan. Xuanji reported a vest. Guest, what do you need to buy? Just then, an old man came forward and asked. It seemed that the last time, the little girl left. Buy information. Xuanji said, I need some major events that happened in Chu recently, and some things that happened in Danliang sect recently. Price, 1 spirit stone. Okay. Xuanji took out the money and put a spirit stone on the table. This world is very big. Just Qingshu County is comparable to a large province in the previous life. Just Chu is comparable to the size of China in the later generations. Many areas are sparsely populated and have a serious shortage of population. But this world of cultivation is essentially a feudal society. The transportation and information in various places are relatively closed, and the circulation of resources is very slow. The existence of each market is not only a transportation hub and a distribution center for goods, but also a center for information collection and dissemination. If you want to inquire about the news and ask for some inside information, it is best to ask in the market. Some public information can be obtained for free. Here, directly charging a spirit stone is already expensive. Two big things happened in Chu recently. One is that a giant ancestor was born in Qianling sect, and his Taoist name is Qian Qiu. The other is that a large spiritual mine was discovered at the border between Qianling sect and Kaotian sect. The two major forces fought a war to compete for this spiritual mine. As for the vicinity of Danliang sect, nothing big happened either. The old man said, talking about some recent events. For Chu, the birth of a giant ancestor, or the death of a giant ancestor, or the occurrence of major events between two sects, are major events. After major events, there are some minor events, such as the birth of a foundation building cultivator in a certain place, the death of a foundation building cultivator, the extermination of a cultivator family, or the discovery of a treasure there, the discovery of a rich mine in certain areas, etc. There is also the Great Chu hunting list. Those who are on the hunting list will be killed or alive. Those who are on the hunting list are all famous figures in Chu, and they are ranked according to the bounty. Bring the corpse and you can receive the reward. On the hunting list, the first place is the blood-changing witch. The second place was the white bone demon lord. The third place was the black corpse demon lord. They were all famous demon cultivators, all golden core ancestors. Ordinary cultivators could not defeat them at all, let alone kill them. As for the 15 cultivators behind them, they were all purple mansion cultivators. The 35 cultivators behind them were all foundation building cultivators. But suddenly, a familiar name appeared. Name, Ancestor Yan Yang. Ranking, 13th. Cultivation, Purple Mansion 3rd level. Magic powers, Yan Yang Skyfire. Fire escape technique, magic weapons, Yan Yang Cauldron. Black Demon Sword. Example, he once led the cultivators and bandits to attack Purple Yang Mountain, resulting in the deaths of about 800 Lu family cultivators, and about 3,000 civilians. He also attacked 8 market towns, resulting in the deaths of 13,000 people. The Purple Mansion ancestor of Danliang sent a shot to kill him, but he escaped. Rewards: 100,000 spiritual stones, a purple yang pill, and a second rank Han Yuan sword. Looking at this name, Xuanji flashed a trace of hatred, but later he was helpless. The Purple Yang Patriarch was at the 3rd level of Purple Mansion, but he was only at the 1st level of Foundation Establishment. The gap between them was huge. If he really met this Patriarch, he would just be killed. Moreover, the Yan Yang Patriarch had already fled the state of Chu. As long as he did not appear in the territory of the state of Chu, the Danliang sect would not bother to hunt him down. Revenge would require the Lu family to take action personally. Chapter 53, Life Magical Treasure. Daoyao, are there any enemies in there? The old man asked. Yes, but the enemy is too strong, and I'm powerless to take revenge. Lu Xuanji sighed slightly, with a hint of murderous intent in his eyes. Dao, are there wings of foundation building monsters, heavenly crystals, jade of good fortune, and wood of vitality here? The Wu family has wings of foundation building monsters and heavenly crystals, but no jade of good fortune or wood of vitality, the old man said, as if he thought of something, and couldn't help but smile. The wings of foundation building monsters are about 500 spirit stones. Heavenly crystals are worth 1000 spirit stones. Such precious goods are not available in this market, and you need to go to the Wu family market to get them in stock. You need to wait here for 10 days before the goods are delivered to your door. I understand this. Then wait 10 days. Lu Xuanji nodded. Markets are also divided into levels. Small markets like this will not store valuable things, but mainly store some heavy, large, and cheap goods. As for those small and expensive items, most of them are stored in the Wu family's treasure house. When a cultivator wants to buy something, he will take it out of the treasure house and send a cultivator to deliver it. By the way, is there a library here? I like to read books, look through some miscellaneous notes, travel notes, essays, encyclopedias, etc. Lu Xuanji asked. Yes. It requires a spirit stone, the old man said. Okay. Lu Xuanji took out a spirit stone and put it on the table. What's your name, fellow Taoist? Lu Xuanji asked. I remember the last time the fellow Taoist sitting here was named Wu Yukin. She went back to the clan to retreat, and it is said that she is going to attack the foundation. At this point, the old man said, as for me, my name is Wu Quanwen. Entering the library, looking at the volumes of books, Lu Xuanji flashed a trace of joy. He began to flip through them, and his phone was downloading. Volumes of books were downloaded to the phone. These books did not involve the methods of cultivation, nor did they involve the 100 arts of cultivating immortals. They were mainly about the experiences and notes of cultivators, but they could increase the knowledge and horizons of cultivators. It took half a day to download them to the phone. Then he flipped through these books and increased his knowledge. About 10 days later, the goods were delivered to the door. Dao, please check it. Wu Quanwen said. Lu Xuanji carefully checked the goods and found no problem. He paid the spirit stone directly and then rented a refining room to start refining. There are different realms for cultivators, and the same is true for magic weapons. The magic weapons in this world are divided into 3 categories: spirit tools, spirit treasures, and immortal tools. The first grade spirit tools, the second grade spirit tools, the third grade spirit tools, the fourth grade spirit treasures, the fifth grade spirit treasures, and the sixth grade spirit treasures, etc., corresponding to the 6 realms of cultivators from key training to transformation. In the spirit tools, there are talismans engraved. The more talismans there are, the more terrifying the power. For the first grade spirit tools, there are 1 to 9 talismans engraved. For the second grade spirit tools, there are 10 to 36 talismans engraved. For the third grade spirit tools, there are 37 to 81 talismans engraved. There are 2 core elements in refining magic weapons. First, the choice of materials. The higher the grade of the material, the more talismans it can carry, and the more likely it is to refine a high grade magic weapon. Second, the choice of talismans. The more exquisite the talisman, the more it can determine the performance of the magic weapon. The number of talismans also determines the grade and power of the magic weapon. Low-level spiritual tools can be refined even by cultivators at the first level of key training. But the higher the grade of spiritual tools, the more difficult it is to refine. Therefore, in the world of cultivation, refiners were born. They specialize in refining magic weapons. Magic weapons are divided into 2 types. One is ordinary magic weapons, and the other is life magic weapons. After ordinary magic weapons are made, their power and grade are fixed, and it is difficult to improve. But life magic weapons are connected to the cultivator's own life, nourished by mana and blood, and perfectly fit themselves. Not only does it save mana, but it is also extremely powerful, and as the cultivator upgrades, the cultivator's blood feeds back to the magic weapon, which will also upgrade the magic weapon. The nature of the talisman determines the function and performance of the magic weapon, and the number of talismans determines the grade and power of the magic weapon. Whoosh! The ground fire is burning. Xuanji took out the materials, threw them into the refining furnace, and began to refine the materials. The materials were melting, first removing impurities, then the materials were fused and turned into a whole, gradually turning into a sword embryo about 3 feet and 3 inches long. Sitting cross-legged on the jade bed, Xuanji's body was full of spiritual light, and his true essence surged out, forming a talisman the size of a copper coin in front of him. The talisman was in the shape of a sword, and it also looked like a knife, with flames surging on it, and it was outlined by 36 strokes. Using the soul as a pen and the true essence as ink, connecting the vitality of heaven and earth, it seemed real and illusory, and began to be engraved on the sword embryo. Each talisman consumed a lot of true essence, and just engraving one consumed 1/5 of the true essence. But once the talisman can be placed on the sword embryo, it can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in an instant, and it is smooth and natural. After engraving 3 talismans, he took a Xuanji pill to make up for the consumption of xenon, and continued to engrave. In this process, there can be no negligence. A little negligence means that all the materials are destroyed. About 10 days later, a 3-foot 3-inch long flying sword appeared, emitting red, as if a phoenix was soaring. The Lihuo sword was cast. There were 13 talismans on it, which was considered a second-grade spiritual weapon. Swish. Holding the Lihuo sword, Xuanji suddenly felt that he was connected to the Lihuo sword by flesh and blood, as if he was a whole, like a part of his body. This is the life magic weapon. If other magic weapons are always separated from themselves, there will always be a little barrier. At this moment, the Lihuo sword is only a second-grade spiritual weapon, but under the continuous warming of Xuanji's blood and true ki, the Lihuo sword will continue to improve. When he advances to the Purple Mansion, the Fire Sword will transform into a third-grade spiritual weapon. When he advances to the Golden Core, the Fire Sword will even become a fourth-grade spiritual treasure. The essence of the life magic weapon is to nourish the weapon with the body. As the cultivator's cultivation level advances, the life magic weapon will also be improved. Then, it is time to refine the wings of freedom. The soul is the pen, the true essence is the ink, and the talisman is carved. 1, 2, 3. Each time a talisman is carved, it consumes the soul power and true essence. After carving 52 in a row, a complete talisman is formed. This time, the consumption is even greater. During the carving, it must be done in one go, and there is no pause, which consumes a lot of energy. Swish. Just then, the first talisman was carved on the wings. After carving continuously, it was finally completed. This is a pair of blue wings, and the talismans on the wings are looming, appearing sacred and majestic, with the breath of wind flowing on them. It is already a second-grade spiritual weapon with 15 talismans on it. The next moment, the wings of freedom appeared behind him. He flapped his wings, and felt his speed reach the extreme. The next moment, the wings of freedom, the fire sword, etc. were all stored in his dungeon, and warmed by his true essence and blood. These two magic weapons were constantly absorbing the true essence of his body, which greatly reduced his cultivation speed. It was originally estimated that it would take 12 years to upgrade one level, but with the drag of the two life magic weapons, it might take 30 years to enter the second level of foundation building. The cultivation speed became slower, but this was temporary. He had a big plan. Chapter 54. Ambush on the road. Wujiafang Market. The cave house is decorated in an antique style. In the center of the cave house, there is an alchemy furnace, which suppresses the underground fire. Under the alchemy furnace, there is a plum blossom shaped gap. At the gap, the red underground fire makes a hissing sound and burns the bottom of the alchemy furnace. On the top of the alchemy furnace, there are two golden dragon mouths on both sides, which are steaming. The floor of the cave house is paved with warm jade, which is warm and soft. When you step on it, you don't feel cold, but a faint sense of warmth. There is a spirit cave in the north of the cave house, and a Taoist platform is set up above the spirit cave. The Taoist platform is engraved with talismans, which look like yin and yang fish. Above the Taoist platform, there is a bed made of spiritual wood, with grey flat wool on it, black and white mixed together. On the bed, an old man sat there, his aura surging, wave after wave, fluctuating, sometimes becoming strong, but sometimes becoming weak. The expression on the old man's face was a little hideous and distorted. Sweat was on his forehead, and his body was shaking slightly. After a long time, he opened his eyes, and a trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. He failed to break through the 4th level of foundation building again. This is the 4th time. The difficulty of cultivation is as difficult as ascending to heaven. After becoming a foundation building cultivator at the age of 40, he spent 20 years to reach the peak of the 1st level of foundation building, and then broke through the bottleneck twice in succession, and successfully entered the 2nd level of foundation building. After entering the 2nd level of foundation building, it took another 15 years to reach the peak of the 2nd level of foundation building, and then broke through the bottleneck 3 times in succession, before entering the 3rd level of foundation building. Then, it took another 10 years to reach the peak of the 3rd level of foundation building, and then failed to break through the bottleneck 3 times. This is the 4th time, but he still failed. Now, he is already 130 years old, and he is only at the peak of the 3rd level of foundation building. The speed is a bit slow. In order to increase the speed, he took too many pills to speed up his cultivation. The speed was much faster, but correspondingly, he also had to pay some price. The price was that the poison got penetrated into the bones and tendons, causing the bottleneck to be particularly strong and the cultivation to improve slowly. It is said that the pure lotus has the effect of removing impurities from the human body. After taking it, it can cleanse the marrow and remove hair, and can eliminate half of the poison in the body of the cultivator. It will be sold in Xiang market in a month, and the starting price is 5,000 spirit stones. Counting the storage bag, Wu Quanwen frowned slightly. The pure lotus must be obtained. If he loses the pure lotus, he may be in the 3rd level of foundation building for the rest of his life. As for borrowing money, the first time he borrowed money, it was a favor. The second time he borrowed money, it was his duty. The third time he borrowed money, he couldn't ask for it. Until now, he still owed 5,000 spirit stones. Now that I'm short of money, I can only go out and do something. Fortunately, that independent cultivator has money. Wu Quanwen suddenly thought of that independent cultivator, the independent cultivator named Yifan, who spent more than 1,000 spirit stones in the Wu family market. It seems that there are still a lot of spirit stones in his pocket. He is a fat sheep. Thinking about killing people to rob treasures, a trace of guilt arises in his heart. The Wu family does things uprightly and pays great attention to rules. As for this behavior of intercepting guests on the way, it is expressly prohibited in the family. If found, they will be directly expelled from the family or even beheaded. But for the sake of the pure lotus, he can't care so much. Moreover, he has always been cautious when he takes action. Those family cultivators will not be provoked. Those foundation building cultivators will not be provoked. Specializing in independent cultivators, or those independent cultivators without background, specifically targeting independent cultivators at the 9th level of key training. Most of those independent cultivators at the 9th level of key training will accumulate a certain amount of spirit stones. Those with money will buy foundation building pills, and those without money will also buy other auxiliary pills. On the contrary, those cultivators who had just established their foundations were in debt and were penniless. Moreover, he was very measured in his actions. Every time he took action, he would wait 2 or 3 years, and he would act alone every time, so as to avoid being noticed by the family. Fellow Daoist Yifan, I'm sorry. Wu Quanwen sighed. He made up his mind and stared at Yifan. Yifan seemed to be refining his life magic weapon. After a month, he walked out of the cave and went to a nearby store, bought some things and disappeared. Swish. After leaving the market, Yifan activated the escape technique and left quickly. The speed was so fast that even he was secretly surprised. Wu Quanwen followed him quietly. When leaving the market, he did not take action, but followed quietly. It was not until 3 days after walking that he arrived at a cave on the side of the road to rest that Wu Quanwen started to act. This place is far away from the Wu family market. Something happened, and it had nothing to do with the Wu family market. Swish. Thinking of this, Wu Quanwen began to arrange the formation flags and began to block the area of 1,000 meters to prevent the enemy from escaping. Only a moment later, The formation flags were arranged. The formation was running, blocking the surrounding void. Swish. At this moment, Wu Quanwen breathed a sigh of relief and entered the vicinity of the cave. Who is it? At this moment, Yi Fan seemed to be startled, looking at the enemy vigilantly, and said, "It turned out to be the Taoist friend of the Wu family, but the Taoist friend seems to be unkind. Killing our own guests is not in line with the rules of the Wu family." Lu Xuanji smiled bitterly in his heart. The first time he came out wearing a vest, something went wrong. Yes, it is not in line with the rules of the Wu family, but I'm short of money, so I can only borrow some money from the Taoist friend. Wu Quanwen said. Really? Lu Xuanji smiled, and at this moment, the aura on his body burst out, and he entered the foundation building realm from the 9th level of key training. His aura was only the first level of foundation building, but the thickness of his true essence was not inferior to the 3rd level of foundation building. Along with the burst of true energy, a pair of blue wings appeared behind him. The wings flashed blue, with a series of talismans rising and falling, shining brightly, appearing sacred and majestic, with a series of wind breaths surrounding them, as if the speed had reached the extreme. At the same moment, a red sword appeared on his palm. The sword had red textures, flashing red, as if the flame was burning. Not only that, there were also wind sounds coming from the sword. The moment the sword appeared, a series of flames condensed and turned into a phoenix that swooped down from the sky. Swish. It was as if the flames were boiling, as if the wind was surging, and the speed was extremely fast. Lu Xuanji used a big killer move as soon as he made a move, with a wing-like magic weapon behind him, and the flying sword in his hand urging together. He was merciless, and used a big move as soon as he made a move. He directly skipped the probing stage and entered the decisive battle stage, entering a life and death duel. Not good. Wu Quanwen was shocked. Subconsciously, he took out a shield and put it against his neck. On the shield, an earth-colored light flashed, blocking the front. Clang clang. The phoenix hit it, and the flames of destruction hit it, wave after wave. After 3 consecutive waves of impact, the energy on the phoenix was exhausted and disappeared. But Wu Quanwen felt that his mana was being consumed. After just a moment of fighting, his mana was consumed by 2 layers. If he continued to attack, it would be terrible. Swish. At this moment, Lu Xuanji approached closely, holding the Lihuo sword in both hands, and all his true energy gathered on the sword. He did not transform into a phoenix, but attached it to the sword, increasing the sharpness of the sword. Man and sword became one, and chopped down continuously in the air. In just one breath, he chopped down 18 swords in a row. Clang clang clang. At the beginning, the shield could still resist, but at the moment of the 18th sword, cracks appeared on the shield. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, Bone Needle, Corpse Poison, Kill. Feeling the danger, Wu Quanwen was horrified and could no longer care about anything. He waved his hand and cast a jade talisman. The iron hook and silver painting on the jade talisman had thunder brewing in it. He urged the true essence, and the power in the jade talisman was activated, and suddenly a destructive thunder swept over. The explosive force of destruction tore everything apart, and endless lightning shattered the void. Even the surrounding formation flags exploded, and everything within a radius of 1 kilometer was destroyed. In the center of the explosion, Wu Quanwen urged a talisman, which turned into a purple light shield, surrounding his body to block the impact of lightning. It only lasted for 2 breaths, and the light shield broke. Fortunately, the destructive power of lightning also dissipated 7 layers, and the remaining power could no longer hurt him. Ahem, this time I lost a lot. I lost a purple thunder talisman and a purple sun talisman. Wu Quanwen regretted that he had lost a lot of money in this deal. The cultivator he hunted this time seemed to be a bit powerful. Before he made the move, he made a mistake. What a loss. What a loss. He felt regretful, but was also glad that he had used 2 talismans to finally kill the enemy. But at this moment, a red sword appeared. It seemed to be telepathic, and it appeared very abruptly and strangely. Wu Quanwen dodged and avoided the heart, but it pierced his right arm directly. Swish. With a burning sensation, his right arm was cut on the spot and broke on the ground. Severe pain came, as if his body was about to be torn apart. Wu Quanwen's body flashed and retreated to the back, but the red sword stabbed faster, cutting towards his neck, and the attack was ruthless and merciless. Daoyao, I'm an elder of the Wu family. You can't kill me. If you kill me, there will be a purple mansion master coming to hunt you down. You can't kill me. If you kill me, the ancestor will kill your whole family. Young man, you are courting death. Wu Quanwen shouted and threatened, as if he had run out of tricks and was heading for the end of the road. Yi Fan's expression did not change, and he continued to assassinate. At the moment, when the Thunder Talisman was cast, Xuanji felt the crisis of life and death, and urged the wings of freedom to avoid the fatal blow, but his body was also in a very embarrassing state and injured. But he also determined to kill. Don't talk nonsense if you can take action. At the moment, when Xuanji was about to stab, he suddenly felt a sense of danger and subconsciously dodged. Swish. At this moment, bone needles like cow hair stabbed at him, densely packed, about dozens of them. Xuanji urged his true essence and turned it into a light shield to resist. But such bone needles seemed to be able to break through the protective key. They pierced through the key in an instant and pierced his body, making a crisp sound. Ding dang dang. The bone needles fell to the ground one after another. I was careless. Xuanji was shocked. Fortunately, he was wearing inner armor. Such inner armor was forged from white tiger skin. It was flexible and strong. There were formations engraved on it, which had terrifying defensive power. This was worn by the Great Elder before he left. He didn't take it seriously when he wore it, but now it saved his life. However, the next moment, he felt a slight numbness in his left arm. A bone needle pierced his left arm. The white tiger inner armor mainly protects the upper body and the torso. As for the arm, there is no defense. The bone needle pierced his arm, and he immediately felt numb and a toxin corroded him. Haha, you were hit by my bone needle, which has corpse poison. Let's see how you can resist it. Wu Quanwen sneered, indescribably proud. After being proud, he retreated and distanced himself from the other party. A trapped beast will still fight. A beast that is about to die is the most ferocious. A counterattack before death may seriously injure or even kill him. The best choice is to keep a distance. Wait until the poison erupts after 10 breaths, then go forward and chop off his head. Corpse poison. Xuanji felt dizzy. He wanted to cheer up and use his skills to force out the poison, but when the skills were running, it actually accelerated the invasion of the poison. The phone detects that a virus is invading. Do you want to start the antivirus program? At this moment, the phone rang. Start. Xuanji did not hesitate at all. The antivirus software is starting up. The antivirus is in progress. The antivirus is continuing. It has been detected that the virus is the three evils corpse poison. The grade is the 3rd grade. It was extracted from the corpse of a purple mansion monster. It can corrode the body along the blood. The foundation building cultivator can last for 10 breaths. The purple mansion cultivator can last for 100 breaths. It is recommended that the host take the 3rd grade detoxification. There is no 3rd grade detoxification pill, Xuanji said. In his heart, he was a little desperate. The price of the 3rd grade detoxification pill was between 20,000 and 50,000 spirit stones, and he didn't have any in his pocket. The system antivirus failed. The system antivirus failed. The host is in critical condition. The host is in critical condition. The mobile phone starts the emergency plan. Just lie down and adjust your posture so that you can die calmly and magnificently. The probability of survival is 0. Plan. Kneel down directly and surrender to Wu Quanwen so you may survive by chance. The probability of survival is 10%. Plan. Run away directly. Rely on the wings of freedom. Run away quickly. The probability of survival is 5%. Plan. Sit in place and wait for rescue. Waiting for the beauty to be a hero. The probability of survival is 10%. Plan. Directly modify the operation method of the Kingian creation art. Increase its own resistance to toxicity and ability to absorb poisons. The probability of survival is 1%. Lu Xuanji was speechless and directly chose Plan 5. As for the previous 4 answers, they were directly abandoned. What a bad idea, not reliable at all. At the same time, he also cursed the mobile phone for being unreliable. After the mobile phone traveled through time, it changed from absorbing electricity to absorbing spiritual energy, and its computing power was greatly improved, and various functions were also improved, but in general, it was still a mobile phone in essence. The essence of a mobile phone is 0 and 1. Its huge computing power and storage capacity are all derived on the basis of 0 and 1. As for some specific thinking problems, they cannot be distinguished at all. Deduction of fate. Continuing, in just 3 breaths, the result was deduced. Lu Xuanji tried to operate the technique, and suddenly the wood attribute in the green lotus creation technique was changing, increasing the absorption and resistance of toxins. 1 breath, 2 breaths, and 10 breaths. Lu Xuanji not only did not die, but the toxins he emitted were reduced a lot. The corpse poison was like nutrients, nourishing the body, improving the cultivation, and strengthening the body. Hey, why are you not dead yet? Wu Quanwen was surprised. 20 breaths passed quickly, but Yi Fan was still not dead. He seemed to have become more energetic. Could it be that he took the detoxification pill? Or maybe he was born with a poisonous body, immune to all poisons, and not afraid of poisons. Thinking of this, he panicked and wanted to run for his life. Kill. At this moment, Lu Xuanji shouted, and drove the wings of freedom to chase after him. Spring breeze spirit wood technique. Trap. Lu Xuanji pinched the magic formula, attracting the energy of the grass and trees on the ground. Suddenly, the grass and trees on the ground grew wildly, and turned into vines, entwining and besieging Wu Quanwen. Wu Quanwen urged the flying sword, and with just a flash, he cut off the vines. But in the moment of delay, Lu Xuanji had already chased after him, and stabbed with the long sword. The sword came out like a dragon. One sword destroyed all laws. One sword tore all laws apart. Wu Quanwen's figure flashed, and fled to the left, but the vines on the ground entangled his feet. Puff! With a crisp sound, the flying sword pierced the heart. The next moment, the flying sword turned slightly again, and the 6 Yang leader on the neck fell to the ground. Wu Quanwen was full of unwillingness. This chapter is considered an extra update. Chapter 56 The Wu family's investigation. Hu. Lu Xuanji panted slightly. The powerful enemy was killed, and he was relieved at this time, and then he let go of the tension and anxiety in his heart. At this moment, the pressure disappeared, and he felt extremely tired all over. Not only was he tired, but his true energy was less than 2 layers of his peak. But there was no time to rest. Lu Xuanji waved his hand to take the storage bag and carefully checked it. There were 10 volumes of Taoist books, 5,000 spiritual stones, 3,000 kilograms of spiritual rice, and other clothes, materials, etc. He directly took out 10 volumes of Taoist books and 5,000 spiritual stones, and put them in his pocket, put away the 3,000 spiritual rice, and discarded the rest of the things on the spot. Then he urged the spiritual fire technique, and the fire was burning Wu Quanwen's body, clothes, storage bags, etc. After 10 breaths, Wu Quanwen's body disappeared, and a ball of ash appeared on the ground. Another strong wind blew, scattered into the sky and earth, and disappeared. Just like this, the body was destroyed, and no trace was left. With a flash of his figure, Lu Xuanji disappeared. 3 days later, a young man and a middle-aged man appeared here, but the young man was in front and the middle-aged man was behind. This young man was the head of the Wu family. Head. 2 days ago, the elder guarding the elder hall found that the soul lamp of Elder Wu Quanwen was extinguished, and it seemed that he was killed by a powerful enemy. At that time, Elder Wu Quanwen happened to be in Bian Fang City, and it was rumored that he was in seclusion to break through the small realm. But when we forced the cave to open, the cave was empty. Then we used the search compass to search for the breath here, and felt the breath of Elder Wu Quanwen here. There are traces of fighting here, traces of the purple thunder talisman exploding, Elder Wuquanwen being burned to ashes, and metal debris left after the storage bag was burned. The middle-aged man reported and talked about the information he had found out. After 3 days, most of the traces here have disappeared. The remaining traces are also vague. Many evidences are obviously insufficient. But the middle-aged man still deduced a lot of information and perfectly restored the battle scene at that time. The middle-aged man continued, "Here, there is the breath of the heavenly fire art and the spring windwood spirit art. According to speculation, the Lu family practiced these two great magical powers. According to my speculation, the Lu family cultivators may be the murderer." The head of the Wu family said, "But I remember that there are true disciples in the Dandayang school who practiced the heavenly fire art and the spring windwood spirit art, and even some casual cultivators practiced a little. We don't have clear evidence. We don't have evidence, but why does the Wu family need evidence to act?" The middle-aged man said domineeringly, "The Lu family is the most suspected. He is not a constable, so why does he need any reason to suspect and kill people? Cultivators don't need reasons to kill people, but they need excuses, and they have to weigh the pros and cons. If it gets out of hand, it will be bad for my Wu family." The head of the Wu family sighed. The Wu family has 18 foundation building people and a purple mansion ancestor. The family power is huge, far beyond the Lu family. If the matter gets out of hand, threatening Changyuan Mountain can indeed suppress the Lu family. But if the matter gets out of hand, it will not be good for the Wu family. How will the world view the Wu family? Killing people and stealing treasures is fine, but they also want to oppress their former allies, which will inevitably leave a reputation of being domineering. A reputation of being domineering is extremely bad for the Wu family. The Wu family only has an ancestor of the Purple Mansion. Among the many aristocratic families in the Chu state, it is nothing. It is neither powerful nor qualified to be domineering. Not having the strength to be domineering, but doing things that are domineering, is a way to bring disaster. Wu Quanwen, why did you come here instead of staying in the market? It was to kill people and steal treasures. Seeing that people had more treasures and more spirit stones, he wanted to kill the fat sheep, but he met a tough guy on the way, and was killed on the way. The clan leader said coldly, "If the matter gets out of hand, and involves a lot of people, it will be said that the monks of my Wu family killed the guests, and damaged the reputation of the market. Forget it. Just say that he encountered the 10th ranked Red Dust Witch, and died after being raped. Add 3,000 spirit stones as a bounty for hunting and killing. As for the pension for Wu Quanwen's descendants, there is no pension. If they want to ask for the reason, just tell the truth directly." The clan leader flashed a trace of anger, turned and left. Killing people and stealing treasures is the unspoken rule of the cultivation world. As the saying goes, a horse cannot grow fat without night grass, and a man cannot become rich without windfall. Killing people and setting fires will earn you a golden belt, and repairing bridges and roads will leave you no bones. Many monks have grey income, even the family has some black gloves. But killing guests is strictly prohibited. After all, I just bought something at your house, and I'm intercepting and killing you when I go out. Even a demon cultivator would not do such a thing. How shameless. For the act of intercepting and killing guests, all major families severely punish them. Some expel them from the family, and some execute them directly. Now Wu Quanwen failed to kill people and steal treasures, but died instead. The so-called severe punishment is unnecessary. But no pension will be given, because it is unnecessary. As for the cause of death, it must be concealed for him, and he died at the hands of a demon. Anyway, the demon is a wanted criminal, and has done a lot of bad things. It doesn't matter if he adds another crime. Swish. With a flashing figure, Lu Xuanji has left. After walking thousands of miles, he arrived at a small town and lived there. When he arrived at the inn, paid the silver, lived in it, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. Killing the cultivators of the Wu family, no matter what the reason, will bring trouble. Fortunately, it was Yi Fan who killed the murderer, and it had nothing to do with me. Lu Xuanji. Condensing his distracting thoughts, Lu Xuanji opened the storage bag, and took out 10 volumes of Taoist books. He just flipped through them roughly. There were alchemy experience, Taoist skills, and some secret techniques, etc. He just looked at them casually, but he didn't plan to practice. First, there is no time. Second, 1,000 moves are not as good as one move. When it comes to the foundation building stage, many cultivators only practice 1 or 2 magical powers, and will not practice too much. On the one hand, there is no time, and on the other hand, there is no need. Hey, white bone Taoist scriptures, white bone relics, white bone needles, this is the magic skills. Suddenly, Xuanji's pupils shrank, and a trace of horror flashed in his eyes. The name of the Taoist book is White Bone Taoist Scripture. The first volume talks about the magic skills and secret techniques, and the second volume talks about the method of refining. In the world of cultivation, there are immortal cultivators and magic cultivators. For the magic cultivators, the attitude of the world is to hunt them down and kill them all. There are also sinister people, hypocrites, and bad people among the righteous cultivators. However, no matter how bad they are, they still have to consider their faith and the rules of the sect. They dare not randomly massacre a city and sacrifice magic weapons with blood, nor do they dare to dig up the bones of their predecessors and refine them into puppets, because they have to respect their ancestors. Even if they kill people for treasures, they must do it in an uninhabited place and consider the rules of the sect. But it is not the case with the demonic path. They kill people to refine treasures, swallow souls to refine ki, kill people to refine corpses, dig graves to refine bones, collect and plunder, etc. They are almost evil. The bad people of the righteous path, no matter how bad they are just challenging the bottom line of morality, but the demonic cultivators are challenging the bottom line of humanity. It is forbidden to practice the magic method. Once a cultivator practices, he will be killed without mercy. Hoo-hoo. Taking a deep breath, Xuanji opened the White Bone Dao Sutra. The beginning does not write about the method of cultivation, but instead writes about the origin of the demonic path. The magic method originated from the demon in the outer space. Chapter 57, White Bone Relics. In the ancient times, the devil came to the world and spread the skills, which were very different from the immortal cultivation skills. Most of them were mainly about absorbing flesh and blood, forcibly plundering, and plundering souls. The skills often arouse negative emotions, such as anger, hatred, evil, cruelty and other emotions, and stimulated the body's potential. The immortal way is mainly based on conditioning, emphasizing gradual progress. Although the speed is slow, it is steady. The devil relies on plundering, often using their own extreme methods to improve their cultivation, often mental disorder, and going astray. Among 1,000 people who practice the devil, basically 999 will die. The devil is known for its high mortality rate and high risk. But the advantage is that the requirements for cultivation qualifications are very low, suitable for those with 4 spiritual roots and 3 spiritual roots. At the same time, the cultivation speed is fast, and it only takes more than 10 years to reach the 9th level of ki training, comparable to the heavenly spiritual roots. In the White Bone Dao Sutra, the examples of 3 legendary devils are listed. The great emperor of Samsara was born with 5 spiritual roots. He initially cultivated in the immortal sect. At the age of 70, he was only at the 5th level of ki training. However, he accidentally obtained the magic skills of the soul-devouring demon sect and soared to the sky. He established his foundation at the age of 75, reached the Purple Palace at the age of 100, the Golden Core at the age of 200, and the Nascent Soul at the age of 350. Finally, he created the 6 paths of magic skills, opened up the Samsara demon vein, and ascended to the immortal world. The old demon of Hehuan was born with 4 spiritual roots. He became a female cultivator in his childhood, but later he obtained the supreme inheritance and began to rise. He collected female cultivators all the way. His skills naturally restrained female cultivators. He often defeated female cultivators in cross-level battles and captured female cultivators as furnace tripods. He became the nascent soul true lord at the age of 200. In his era, the Hehuan demon vein, which was originally at the bottom, became the first vein of the demon path. The white bone demon lord, with a natural spiritual root, comprehended the mysteries of Buddhism and created the white bone relics. He established his foundation at the age of 15, reached the Purple Palace at the age of 30, the Golden Core at the age of 50, and the Nascent Soul at the age of 80. He was known as the youngest Nascent Soul cultivator in history. The magic path has too strong an appeal. The magic path may decline, but it cannot die. Because in the world of cultivation, the 5 spiritual root and 4 spiritual root cultivators occupy as many as 9 levels. If they follow the immortal path, it is difficult to build a foundation and the future is bleak. But if they follow the magic path, although the mortality rate is high, there is a glimmer of hope. Seeing this, Xuanji was slightly relieved. Fortunately, he has 3 spiritual roots and good qualifications, and he has a good future on the immortal path. If he was born at a bad time, he would only have 5 spiritual roots, and he might have to go to the magic path. The White Bone Taoist scripture begins by telling the origin of the magic path, the advantages and disadvantages of the magic path and the immortal path, and then tells the method of cultivation, as well as some secret techniques. This Taoist scripture can be directly cultivated to the 3rd level of the nascent soul. Xuanji was jealous. Each sect regards advanced techniques as the foundation, and it is difficult to obtain advanced techniques. Many foundation building cultivators can only obtain foundation building techniques. Only after entering the Purple Mansion can they obtain the techniques of the Purple Mansion realm. After the power is passed on, one must swear an oath not to leak it, etc. But here, it directly points to the 3rd level of the nascent soul. The demon sect is a bit generous. The 5 internal organs ghost magic devours the souls of 100 mortals and turns them into 5 element ghosts, which live in the 5 internal organs of the human body. The 5 internal organs raise the 5 ghosts and grow together. Ghost Kigan refines the souls of 9 Kigan cultivators and melts them into the spirit, to increase the strength of the soul. Ghost Demon Yin Thunder refines the soul of a foundation building cultivator, and condenses it into a thunderbolt to attack the enemy. Xuanji gathering beasts requires a Xuanji woman as a sacrifice, to become a supreme secret technique. 3 corpses Yuan Gong requires killing 3 babies, and using them as puppet clones. Xuanji was furious after just reading half of it. These skills are too anti-human and simply intolerable. Looking at these cultivation methods, Xuanji felt cold in his heart. On the road of cultivation, he had also seen some immortal hypocrites, some thieves and prostitutes, but compared to the demon cultivators, they were as kind as good babies. At most, they were insidious and vicious, but not cruel. They mostly fought among cultivators, and rarely affected civilians. Looking at this volume of Taoist books, Xuanji knew what the demon path was, and what the righteous path was. As for saying that there are good people and gentlemen in the demon path, it was simply speechless. Wait until the demon cultivators abide by the bottom line of being a human being, do not kill civilians, and do not kill at will, then talk about other things. After finishing the 1st volume, he began to read the 2nd volume. The 2nd volume tells the method of refining the 7 magic weapons of the White Bone Demon sect. The 7 magic weapons of the White Bone Demon sect are the White Bone Relics, the White Bone Demon God, the White Bone Taoist Palace, the White Bone Demon Sword, the White Bone Divine Needle, the White Bone Shuttle, and an ethereal White Bone Banner. Among them, the White Bone Relics are known as the first of the 7 treasures. The White Bone Relics can store true essence, fight at critical moments, and can also be used to break through realms. He kept flipping through the books, and finally burned to Taoist scriptures. However, the contents of the scriptures were recorded in his mobile phone. Wu Quanwen practiced the White Bone Taoist scripture, but fearing the prohibition of the immortal way, he did not practice magic spells, but only sacrificed the White Bone Divine Needle. The White Bone Divine Needle is invisible, and specializes in breaking the Xinyuan shield. There is even corpse poison on it, and Xuanji suffered a great loss. But it is still not the strongest. The strongest is the White Bone Relic. In the White Bone Demon sect, the cultivators who can refine the White Bone Relic in each generation are all the pride of heaven, the peerless monsters, and have a great chance of becoming giant and cultivators. Just like the White Bone Demon Lord, who ranked 2nd on the hunting list of the Chu state, practiced the White Bone Relic. In the White Bone Taoist scripture, many cruel and bloody secrets were abandoned by Xuanji, just because they were not in line with his mind. However, Some of the magic concepts in it are very valuable. The White Bone Demon sect has two core concepts. One is to produce blood from bones, and the other is to nourish the body with instruments. According to the concept of bone blood production, the main thing is that when the bones are strong, the blood and ki will also be strong. With the strong blood and ki, the physique and cultivation of the cultivator will also be improved accordingly. To practice the White Bone Deo Sutra, the first step is to refine a bone magic weapon, nurture it in the body, and accelerate the practice by strengthening the blood and ki. The higher the grade of the bones, the higher the grade of the forged magic weapon. Wu Quanwen also has limited qualifications and cannot forge the white bone relic. He can only forge the relatively weak white bone needle, otherwise he will be dead. When the white bone magic weapon is refined to a certain level, it can be used with the help of the magic weapon, the unity of man and treasure, to break the bottleneck. The magic method is not advisable, but some of the magic concepts and some methods of refining are of great reference significance. Lu Xuanji thought. It is impossible for him to practice the White Bone Deo Sutra, nor is it possible to refine the White Bone Relic. But he can comprehend the concepts in it and integrate them. The destiny deduction in the mobile phone continues, and the creation green lotus art has undergone subtle changes. Even the Lihua sword and the wings of freedom are changing. After packing up, Lu Xuanji went to Xiang Mountain. As for Yi Fan's vest, he put it down for the time being, so as not to worry about the Wu family. After walking for 10 days, he finally arrived at Xiang Mountain. This place is familiar and strange, but it no longer belongs to the Lu family, but to the Junzi patriarch. As he approached here, Lu Xuanji felt that the spiritual energy became richer, and there was a spiritual charm in the spiritual energy. The spiritual energy was more lively and easier to absorb. Even the internal exercises were running more smoothly. This is a 4th grade spiritual vein. After this Junzi patriarch occupied Xiang Mountain, he upgraded the spiritual vein here, and the 3rd grade spiritual vein transformed into a 4th grade spiritual vein. Lu Xuanji was slightly shocked, and suddenly thought of some rumors about this Jin patriarch. It is rumored that this Jin patriarch is not only a Jinden master, but also a 4th grade formation master, who is good at arranging formations. He is a guest invited by the Danliang sect. The Danliang sect was famous for its elixirs, and was good at refining elixirs, but it was much inferior in the arrangement of formations. With the addition of Patriarch Jin, the shortcomings of the Danliang sect were made up, and its overall strength was relatively improved. With the cultivation of a 4th grade formation master, it seemed natural to upgrade the spirit veins. Chapter 58, Bushanding. As we approached Xiang Mountain, we found that it had changed drastically. 6 more peaks had been added to the top of Xiang Mountain. The 7 peaks were linked together to form a supreme killing formation, like a giant beast lying dormant. This was the supreme killing formation, the 7-star killing formation. If it was properly arranged, even a Jinden cultivator could be killed by a snipe. Between the 7 peaks, there were spiritual fields, where spiritual rice and spiritual medicine were planted. The spiritual rice was Jade Emperor rice. There were patches of Jade Emperor rice, covering about 1,000 acres. Jade Emperor rice was of a higher grade than Beiyang rice, and continuous consumption was also very beneficial to Purple Mansion cultivators. However, Jade Emperor rice consumed a lot of spiritual energy, and was difficult to care for, so it was impossible to expand the arable land area, and only a small amount was planted. When the Lu family was at its peak, they only planted less than 10 acres of Jade Emperor rice. But this Jin patriarch was good, planting 1,000 acres directly. In the spiritual field, there are large areas of chalcedony, lingzi, shanling grass, etc., 2nd grade spiritual medicines, and 3rd grade spiritual medicines. It seems that they are growing well, and can be harvested. Suddenly, I saw some chalcedony with a golden texture on it, which looks sacred and noble. It is the 1,000-year-old chalcedony. The 1,000-year-old chalcedony can be used to refine the purple palace pill. I saw some spiritual trees planted in the spiritual field, absorbing spiritual energy, and emitting a trace of the 5-element from afar. They are the 5-element fruit trees. I walked again, and saw some spiritual medicines, spiritual trees, etc., many of which I didn't recognize. There are also some courtyards and caves, etc., some of which are entered to casual cultivators and some are used to accommodate disciples. These are all the property of Jin Leo Zhu. Arrived at the gate of Xiang Market. Just pay a spiritual stone to enter Xiang Market. The destruction caused by the war in the past has disappeared, leaving only prosperity and bustle. Here, a large number of casual cultivators are attracted to enter, and there are constant coming and going of cultivators. There are casual cultivators setting up stalls on the roadside to sell things. There are also many foundation building casual cultivators sitting on the street, selling items, such as Xianling grass, Tangling grass, Zisu pills, Xianling fruit, etc. Many higher-level spiritual medicines can be found, not only of high quality, but also at a relatively low price. Looking at the stalls on the roadside, Xuanji wanted to make a move several times, but thinking that he had no money in his pocket, he could only endure it. Ziyang Pavilion. Walking and walking, he arrived at a shop in the center of the town. Ziyang Pavilion is a shop opened by Jin Leo Zhu. There are high-end goods here. In the shop, the glass cabinet on the left contains foundation building pills, Xianyang pills, Nirvana pills, etc., all of which are second-grade pills. Pills that are useful for foundation building cultivators have prices clearly marked on them. In the center, there is a Xiang pill, priced at 170,000. In the glass cabinet on the right, there is a fiery red sword, a flag, a sword, etc., and second-grade spiritual tools are placed casually. On the wall next to it, there was a list with the prices of various elixirs, spiritual tools, etc. The prices were 1 to 2 levels higher than those of the goods outside, but the advantage was the good quality and sufficient supply. Many goods could be bought in time. Unlike some places, even if there were spiritual stones, they might not be able to be bought. At this time, when entering Xiang Pavilion, it was empty, without a single customer, and it looked deserted. It seemed deserted, but the business was not bad. As long as 3 or 5 items were sold every day, they could make money. It was like not opening for 3 years, but opening for 3 years would make up for it. At this moment, there was a girl at the 9th level of key training at the front desk. Seeing the customer coming, she came forward to greet him. Dao, you are in my Xiang Pavilion. What do you want to buy? Xuanji sent a telepathic message. Heavenly crystal, jade of creation, and wood of vitality. Wait a minute, the price of these 3 materials seems to be more than 3,000 spiritual stones. I can't make the decision. Wait for me to call the shopkeeper. The girl said, and said goodbye. After a while, a woman in a purple dress came over, and said with a smile, Dao, please come in. Under the guidance, the two entered the private room. The private room can be isolated from outsiders. There is no need to worry about the news leaking out when trading here. Dao, this is the item you need. The price is at least 7,000 spirit stones. The purple dress woman said, taking out the item. A palm-sized crystal, emitting a brilliant light, with golden lines surrounding it, is the sky crystal. There is also a piece of white jade, surrounded by Taoist patterns, with a trace of spiritual energy surging, which is the jade of good fortune. There is also a piece of wood, which has a strong woody aura, and is full of vitality. It is the wood of vitality. Xuanji went forward to check. The quality of the 3 goods is top-notch, especially the weight of the sky crystal is 15 teals, the jade of good fortune is 50 teals, and the wood of vitality is 3 catties. The weight is over the standard, but the cost of 7,000 spirit stones is considered a discount. Thank you, Dao. Xuanji said, putting the 3 materials into the storage bag. He took out another 7,000 spirit stones, and handed them over. Fortunately, he got some from Wu Quanwen, otherwise he really couldn't buy it. Dao, do you have a weapon refining room? I want to refine a spiritual treasure. Xuanji asked. Yes, 10 spirit stones a month. The purple skirt woman said. Thank you. Xuanji said. Go to the west to rent it. It's very convenient. The purple skirt woman said, but don't delay too much. You will come out of retreat after 1 month. Why is that? Xuanji asked curiously. Because in 1 month, the Jinxie ancestor will come out of retreat to preach. That is the giant ancestor preaching. For us foundation building cultivators, it is a supreme fortune. If some cultivators get the teacher's approval, they may even be accepted by the teacher. the purple skirt woman said. It is indeed a great opportunity. Lu Xuanji nodded. Dao, what is your name? My name is Yuzuan, the purple skirt woman said. But I'm from the Yi family. Lu Xuanji asked. That's right. I belong to the main branch of Danliang sect and became your disciple not long ago. The purple skirt woman said. My name is Lu Xuanji and I'm from the Lu family of Qingshu County. Lu Xuanji said. In this way, the two introduced their identities to each other and said some meaningless words. After sitting for a few minutes, Lu Xuanji left, arrived at the west of the market, rented a cave. In the cave, there is a furnace for refining instruments, and the deadly earth fire is burning below. The formation controls the intensity of the earth fire. I tried to adjust it a few times, and it felt good. The temperature of the flame is quite high. Huolala. Take out the storage bag. One by one, the materials are poured on the ground, and they begin to be sorted and laid out, counting the number, and then start to adjust the breath. After adjusting the breath for a long time, urging the earth fire, began to refine the Cheyenne budding. Ding, there are yin and yang. The 3-leg tripod is a round belly tripod, which is a yang tripod. The 4-leg tripod is a square tripod, which is a yin tripod. The 3-leg tripod is mainly used for offering sacrifices to the sky. The 4-leg tripod is mainly used for offering sacrifices to the earth. The tripod refined this time was a large tripod with 3 legs and a round belly, and its name was Butian. Chapter 59. Ancestor Jin Preaching. The Bushanding should be used mainly for offering sacrifices to the heavens and suppressing one's own luck. At the same time, it can be used to refine elixirs and spiritual tools. Among all kinds of spiritual tools and magic weapons, the Dan furnace is also the most difficult to refine. It involves a lot of talismans, and the talismans need to be combined and optimized. The complexity and number of talismans involved in the Dan furnace are far more than those of the flying sword. Whoosh! The ground fire is burning. Lu Xuanji took out the materials, threw them into the refining furnace, and began to smelt the materials. First, the impurities were removed, and then the materials were fused into a whole. After a month, it turned into a prototype of a 3-legged round tripod. On the round tripod, the spiritual light was flashing, and the light of white jade was undulating on the wall of the tripod. Lu Xuanji urged his divine thoughts, using his mental power as a pen and his true essence as ink, to carve talismans in the void. 1 stroke, 2 strokes, 3 strokes, and gradually a talisman like a dragon and a tiger appeared, with a strange light on it, outlined by 103 lines. Lu Xuanji was slightly out of breath after just carving a talisman. The talisman carved on the Lihuo sword was drawn with 36 strokes. The talisman carved on the wings of freedom was drawn with 52 strokes. However, the talisman carved on the Bushanding was drawn with 103 strokes. In terms of difficulty, it was far more difficult than the previous 2 spiritual tools. When he put the first talisman on the Bushanding, Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. Just carving a talisman consumed half of his true essence and 1/3 of his mental strength. He quickly took a yuan key pill to make up for the loss and continued to draw and carve talismans. After carving 3 talismans in a row, he seemed to be exhausted, and his true energy was insufficient when trying the 4th talisman. After many failures, he could only give up and continue refining. The Bushanding absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and slowly took shape. But it seemed that the spiritual energy was absorbed quickly. In just a moment, the spiritual energy in the spiritual cave was completely absorbed. He took out the spiritual stones and supplied them to the Bushanding for absorption. After absorbing 100 spiritual stones in a row, the Bushanding was full. Hula. The Bushanding fell into his hand, and Lu Xuanji frowned slightly because he was dissatisfied. The Bushanding, with only 3 talismans, was also the lowest level among the 1st grade spiritual tools. It was much inferior to the 2nd grade Lihuo sword and free wings. He urged the Bushanding and began to refine the elixir. The elixir was Beiyang Dan, and the main material was Beiyang rice. Hoo-hoo. In just a moment, the refining was successful. After tasting it, the taste was so-so, not very good, but not very bad either. He was a little disappointed, but he still put it into the danshan. Hoo-hoo. When it entered the Danshan, the lid of the Bushinding opened and began to absorb Lu Xuanji's true essence crazily. What is this for? Lu Xuanji was a little puzzled. As if he thought of something, he let the big cauldron absorb the true essence. The true essence in his body was being consumed violently. When half of it was absorbed, the mouth of the Bushinding opened wide, and a stream of true essence sprayed out and entered the Danshan and tendons. The amount of this true essence was reduced by more than one layer, but it was more refined in properties and higher in quality. The Bushinding is purifying my true essence. The true essence has been purified to the 9th level. Sensing the changes in the true essence, Lu Xuanji was slightly surprised. He just felt that he had picked up a treasure. To break through from the foundation building stage to the purple mansion realm, it is not only to increase the amount of true essence to a certain critical point, it is also necessary to purify the true essence. Only when the true essence is pure enough can you break through to the purple mansion realm. Many cultivators fail to break through to the purple mansion because they take too many pills. Purifying the true essence can increase the probability of breaking through the purple mansion. Not to mention other functions, this function alone is enough. Putting aside distracting thoughts, Lu Xuanji urged the Bushinding, in and out, to purify the true essence. A month later, his cultivation level not only did not improve, but it actually decreased a lot, from the late stage of the first foundation building to the early stage of the first foundation building. However, as his cultivation level decreased, the quality of his true essence increased to the 8th level. When it was purified to the 8th level, the Bushinding could no longer purify it. Sensing the purity of his true essence, his combat power did not decrease at this moment, but it increased by a large margin, and the power of some magic skills also increased by a large margin. The grade of the Bushinding is still too low. It is best to upgrade it to the 2nd grade, or even the 3rd grade. Lu Xuanji thought. Ding ding ding. At this moment, the bell rang. Lu Xuanji walked out of the cave and headed for Xiang Mountain. The Jin Patriarch was going to preach. This was a Jiandan Patriarch preaching. The Jiandan Patriarch was also a big shot in the Chu state, a giant in the Danliang sect, and the ruler of the cultivation world. In normal times, the Jiandan Patriarch could not be seen at all. The Jiandan Patriarch was a mysterious figure that could only be seen from head to toe. Now he was going to preach publicly, which was almost a great opportunity for the middle and low level cultivators. Soon, they arrived at the square. At this moment, a woman in white palace clothes appeared, exuding the aura of the purple mansion, and began to arrange seats and maintain order. There were also 5 foundation building cultivators walking, arranging comfort, maintaining order, and making everything in order. After the arrangement, Lu Xuanji sat down in a certain position. Later, more cultivators sat down. Soon, the messy venue became quiet and orderly. After a rough count, there were thousands of cultivators who came to listen to the teachings, and there were 8 purple mansion cultivators sitting in the front row. About an incense stick later, a woman appeared on the platform. Her appearance was very abrupt, but it seemed natural. A blue lotus platform appeared in everyone's sight. On the lotus platform, a dreamlike woman appeared and said, "My name is Xuanji. Today I will preach to you. Greetings, ancestor." Everyone bowed respectfully. Ancestor Xuanji accepted it calmly. He deserved the grace of preaching. The world has talismans, which are the textures of the great Dao and the characters of the world. The 100 arts of cultivation are nothing more than the application of talismans. Array masters carved talismans on mountains and rivers, on spiritual veins, and turned them into deadly attacks. Alchemists carved talismans on elixirs, as elixirs have spirituality and the medicinal power is more conducive to absorption. Talisman makers carved talismans on jade or the fur of monsters, storing power in them, and bursting out at the right time. When cultivators cultivate magical powers, they must condense talismans in their danshan, and combine the talismans to form a deadly technique. When they enter the golden elixir, they must also carve talismans on the golden elixir. When they reach the nascent soul stage, cultivators must try to combine different talismans to evolve a great magical power that suits them. When the Jingxi Patriarch spoke, he did not tell Xuming's mysterious, wonderful, or pretentious things, but told some easy to understand things, some details, and common sense things. After hearing what the cultivators who were born in big families said, they did not agree, but the casual cultivators were delighted when they heard it, because it touched their hearts. There are many common sense things that casual cultivators do not know. The content of the Jinxie Patriarch's talk is to teach those casual cultivators a lesson. Chapter 60, the first test. After talking about the concept of cultivation and the basic theory, he started to talk about some matters to pay attention to during the key training period: how to quickly improve cultivation, how to quickly break through bottlenecks, the taboos of taking elixirs, and how to eliminate the elixir poison in the body. Then he talked about some common sense and precautions during the foundation building period, as well as some key things. How to avoid detours, how to build a solid foundation, and increase the probability of breaking through the Purple Mansion realm. Many cultivators listened and suddenly realized. Even Xuanji was deeply touched when he listened. Hearing this, he could avoid some thunder points and pitfalls. Then, he talked about the Purple Mansion again, but this time he was vague and only talked about it roughly. When it came to the Golden Pill period, it was even more brief. He only talked about the 9 layers of the Golden Pill, the 9 transformations of the Golden Pill, and the Jayasi mana, etc. At the end, Patriarch Xuanji said, "Purple Mansion Cultivator, can you ask a question?" A Purple Mansion Cultivator said, "May I ask, old Patriarch, how to achieve the Golden Elixir?" There are 3 disasters in foundation building, 9 difficulties in Purple Mansion, and 12 tribulations in Golden Elixir. If a cultivator reaches the peak of Purple Mansion, he needs to go through 12 tribulations before he can achieve the Golden Elixir. The so-called 12 tribulations can be understood as the 12 conditions for advancing to the Golden Elixir. Old Patriarch Xuanji spoke with a majestic tone. First, you need to transform your true essence into magic power. Second, you need to accumulate magic power for 10 generations. Third, the quality of your magic power must reach the first level of the Golden Elixir. Fourth, you need to perfect at least 3 minor magical powers, or achieve minor success in 3 major magical powers. One of them must have an attack attribute, one must have a healing attribute, and one must have a defensive attribute. Fifth, your soul must be strong enough to lift 100 pounds. Sixth, your body must be indestructible, comparable to a 2nd grade spiritual weapon. Seventh, you need to master the control of your magic power and enter the macro stage. 8th, you need to survive the thunder calamity. 9th, you need to survive the demon calamity. 10th, you need to survive the human calamity. 11th, it is best to have a 4th grade spiritual treasure to protect you. 12th, you need great luck. Another cultivator asked questions, and Patriarch Jin answered them one by one. At this time, a Purple Mansion cultivator asked, "Ancestor, is it really impossible to cultivate without spiritual roots?" Without spiritual roots, it is really impossible to cultivate immortals. Ancestor Xuanji said, however, there is a way to give mortals spiritual roots. Legend has it that Yuanying's engine can give mortal spiritual roots at a certain price. It is also said that there is a 5th grade fortune fruit that can give birth to spiritual roots after taking it. Another Purple Mansion cultivator asked, and Ancestor Xuanji answered. Soon, the 8 Purple Mansion cultivators finished asking. "This lord, I have set up 3 tests in Xiang Mountain, testing aptitude, understanding, and luck respectively. If aptitude is not good, understanding can make up for it. If both aptitude and understanding are not good, there is still luck to make up for it. If both aptitude and understanding are not good, and luck is also bad, don't cultivate immortals as soon as possible. Just go home and retire." Ancestor Xuanji said lightly, with a cold tone. With a wave of his arm, thousands of people in the square disappeared. The next moment, he appeared at the foot of the mountain. So amazing. Xuanji sighed in his heart. Thousands of cultivators waved their hands and sent them down Xiang Mountain. This was a demonstration. Preaching was a favor, but the attack just now was a demonstration. The combination of kindness and force is the long-term solution. At this time, a woman in white appeared and called everyone to the first level. Fellow Daoist Longzuan, are there any particulars for these 3 levels? At this time, a Purple Mansion cultivator asked. There is no particularity. Success is the best, and failure is no problem. Just treat it as a game for my young lady. The woman in white said. Her tone was gentle, like a lady from a noble family in the mortal world. But everyone looked at her, but there was no contempt, but awe. Long Xuan was both the maid of Jin Liaozhu and the sister of Jin Liaozhu. They had a deep relationship with each other, not to mention that she was a purple mansion cultivator and was powerful in herself. As they walked, they arrived in front of a hillside with 108 steps on it. This is the first test. Swish. The cultivators began to climb, and the first 10 steps were quickly climbed up. But soon some monks couldn't hold on any longer and rolled down the steps. But some monks persisted and continued to climb. Xuanji also climbed up the steps. When he climbed up the steps, he felt a repulsive force and a squeezing force that was about to push him down the steps. Sure enough, a monk in front couldn't hold on any longer and was pushed down the steps. However, when he was pushed down the steps, there seemed to be a force that helped him fly high and didn't hit the people below. Swish. The second one, the third one. Xuanji kept climbing, and the repulsive force was also increasing. He had to urge his true essence and keep climbing forward. When he reached the 50th step, the pressure was increasing, and the speed of his true essence was accelerating. Thump. At this moment, Xuanji saw 3 purple mansion monks who had reached the top. At the same time, he saw more than a dozen monks being squeezed down. Keep moving forward. As the pressure increases, the true essence seems to be tempered, and the purity is increasing. This step has the effect of tempering the true essence. Xuanji was slightly happy and continued to climb. Finally, he walked up 108 steps and reached the top. There were 35 other cultivators who climbed up at the same time, 24 in the key training stage, 8 in the foundation building stage, and 3 in the purple mansion stage. This level mainly tests the purity of the true key or true essence. Most of those who rely on drugs to improve their cultivation have weak true key or true essence, and they will not be able to withstand the pressure and will be squeezed out. On the contrary, the purple mansion cultivators have all experienced true essence purification and have high true essence purity, so they can pass the first level. Chapter 61, Nameless Sword Monument. As for those who were eliminated, they all left. 35 people came to the stone tablet and began to comprehend. On the stone tablet, there were some pictures and some words, which seemed to describe an unnamed sword technique. Looking at the stone tablet, Xuanji felt it was very mysterious, as if there was a great mystery. But when he looked at it carefully, he was confused again. He looked at it for a stick of incense, but felt nothing, and didn't comprehend anything. He looked at other cultivators again, and they were also confused. As if expecting something, Long Xuan said, "Dear fellow Taoists, do you feel that you don't understand it, don't comprehend anything? It's right that you haven't comprehended it. This sword tablet was found by my young lady in a secret realm. It contains supreme sword techniques, but it is very difficult to comprehend. My young lady has been comprehending for a decade before she has made some progress. If there are cultivators who have made some progress before they are 100 years old, they can come here to receive some rewards from my young lady." Many cultivators were not convinced and continued to comprehend. Xuanji was also unconvinced and continued to comprehend. Time passed little by little, and 3 days had passed, but there was no effect at all. Fellow Taoists, it is normal that you cannot comprehend it. Go to the 3rd level. Long Xuan said, thinking that this situation was reasonable. In the early stage of cultivation, you rely on resources. As long as you have resources to keep throwing, a pig can become Zhu Beiji. But in the later stage, it is a test of comprehension, the ability to comprehend the skills, and the ability to innovate. It's a pity that these cultivators don't have very good comprehension. But this is a normal event, just like geniuses are a minority in the world, and those who have extraordinary comprehension are also a minority. What a pity. Xuanji was also slightly disappointed, but this is reasonable. This event also shows that he is just an ordinary person. Sure enough, he is not a genius. His qualifications are average, and he only has 3 spiritual roots. As for his comprehension, it is also average, nothing special. Record on your phone. Xuanji activated his phone and recorded the information on the stone tablet. He activated deduction of destiny and began to deduce the skills. Lack of understanding. Mobile phone to make up for it. Mobile phones have huge computing power, to a certain extent, can replace human understanding. In the process of fate deduction, the data is a bit huge, the deduction is stuck in a bottleneck, the data involves higher dimensional knowledge, it is difficult to deduce, the information involved in the data exceeds the cognition of the mobile phone, it is difficult to deduce, the information involved in the data may exceed the level of viewing. The deduction failed, the information stored in the database is limited, and it is impossible to conduct a deeper analysis of the information on the stone tablet. The data deduction is stuck in a bottleneck. At this time, the mobile phone sent a message after another, all indicating that the deduction was stuck in a dilemma, and could not conduct a deeper deduction. It was a bit unexpected, but it was reasonable. Mobile phones are not omnipotent, and mobile phones are only second-grade spiritual tools. The deduction ability is limited, and it is still impossible to deduce some excess of information. If the mobile phone is omnipotent, and can deduce everything, Xuanji will be uneasy. Proceed. Branch analysis. Xuanji input the command. The process of deduction is no longer pursuing big and complete, but knowing the fur. Determine the direction of deduction. Life swordsmanship, death swordsmanship, fast swordsmanship, slow swordsmanship, sharp swordsmanship, space swordsmanship, time swordsmanship. The direction of deduction is life swordsmanship. Xuanji said casually, the deduction is continuing, it will take 10 years, and it may be possible to deduce a little mystery. 10 years. It seems that this deduction is particularly long. Xuanji frowned, but he could only acquiesce. It is difficult to comprehend the skills. If there is no mobile phone, it may be difficult to comprehend it in a lifetime. Long Xuan led everyone to a water tank. There was a layer of black prohibition on the water tank. There seemed to be something stored in the water tank. On the road of cultivation, you can have poor spiritual roots and insufficient comprehension, but you can't have too bad luck. This level is mainly to test luck. Long Xuan said, take out an object from the water tank at random, and see if you are lucky. Everyone listened and was speechless. Daoyao, is this reliable? A purple mansion cultivator spoke. It's unreliable. Long Xuan said, but my lady thinks this is good. Then I'll go first. The purple mansion cultivator said, reaching out his hand, and grabbing something in the water tank at random, and suddenly an item fell into his hand. It was a spiritual stone. Another cultivator came forward, and grabbed something in the water tank. It was a brocade bag with 3 bayang pills in it. One after another, cultivators came forward, and began to grab items, but their luck varied. The unlucky ones grabbed a spiritual stone, and the lucky ones grabbed a foundation building pill. This method was used to detect the European emperor and the unlucky ones. This is somewhat similar to rolling dice, but it is different. Rolling dice seems to be a matter of luck, but some people can make it bigger or smaller by relying on their keen hearing, skills, mathematical probability problems, etc. This is like Scrudinger's cat, relying entirely on luck, without any probability calculation, and no skills to deduce the result. Xuanji also grabbed it casually. It was very casual, but when he grabbed it, it turned out to be a pill bottle. Hey, I'm lucky. It could be 3 bayang pills or a foundation building pill. Xuanji opened it casually, and poured it into his palm. Suddenly, a purple pill appeared. There were 6 pill patterns on it, locking the medicinal power, and preventing it from leaking out. This is the purple yang pill. Long Xuan was slightly surprised and said, Dao I was really lucky. This is a purple yang pill. Is this the purple yang pill? Xuanji looked at the purple pill, and felt his arm trembling slightly, a little overwhelmed. This is a purple yang pill. At the peak of the foundation building stage, taking a purple yang pill has a 3-level probability of becoming a purple mansion cultivator. In the Danliang sect, the internal price of a purple yang pill is 150,000 spirit stones, but the price outside is 170,000 to 200,000. Foundation building cultivators do not eat or drink, and it takes 200 to 500 years to save up money to buy a foundation building pill. Without relying on the power of the family and the financial resources of the master, many foundation building cultivators simply cannot afford to buy a foundation building pill. Holding the purple yang pill, Lu Xuanji smelled it carefully, then put it into the bottle and handed it to Long Xuan. Long Xuan took it and said, "Congratulations, you are very lucky. My lady wants to summon you." "Thank you, senior," Lu Xuanji said respectfully. The other cultivators looked at Lu Xuanji with envy in their eyes. This cultivator has average qualifications and average comprehension, but he is lucky. The Golden Pill ancestor actually wants to summon him. This is a great fortune. Not to mention other things, just talking to the Golden Pill ancestor is enough to brag about for a long time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Ancestor Xuanji, Become My Disciple. Long Xuan was walking forward, and Lu Xuanji was a little behind, following closely behind. "What's your name, fellow Daoist?" Long Xuan asked. Her voice was soft and gentle, with an intoxicating feeling, like 100-year-old wine. Along with the words, came a faint body fragrance with a hint of orchid. "Lu family, Lu Xuanji," Lu Xuanji said. From the corner of his eye, he was also observing this senior. His beautiful eyes were shining, his hair was combed into a bun, he was wearing a blue dress with a silk skirt, his figure was perfectly developed, protruding in front, and curving in the back, and the skin exposed outside looked as white and smooth as jade, and as white as snow, making his figure extremely attractive. Under his soft body, there was a terrifying energy, and his strength was even higher than that of the ancestor of the Lu family. "So you are from the Lu family?" Long Xuan nodded, as if thinking of something. The Lu family was also a big family in Qingshu County in the past, but it is a pity that it has declined now. "You must strive to make progress and work hard to revitalize the Lu family." "Senior, I know." Lu Xuanji nodded, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and asked, "Ancestor Jin, is there anything taboo?" "Taboo?" Long Xuan frowned and thought, her snow-like hands subconsciously touching her drooping hair, thinking and saying, "My young lady has a gentle personality, she doesn't kill people easily, nor does she get angry easily, and she is relatively close even to the younger generation. However, there are still some taboos. You can call my young lady Ancestor Jin, or Taoist friend, but you must never call her fairy." "Why is that?" Lu Xuanji asked. "In the world of cultivation, when you meet a female cultivator, you usually call her a fairy. Just like in the previous life, when you meet a woman, you often call her a beauty, even though many women are not beautiful. My young lady thinks that a mid-Chindan cultivator is so far from becoming an immortal that he is not worthy of being called an immortal. This is the first reason. The term fairy has a similar meaning as of ours. Calling someone a fairy is like calling someone a vase. This is the second reason." Long Xuan said, "Dao, you must understand. Thank you for your advice," Lu Xuanji said. The distance was very short. In just a moment, they arrived at a garden. I saw the old ancestor Xuanji standing there, standing against the wind, wearing a white palace dress that outlined her perfect curves, like a lady from a noble family in the mortal world. There was a shrewdness flashing between her eyes, as sharp as a sword. She stood there like a living divine sword, with the sword energy cutting through all directions, and suppressing all directions. After just a glance, Lu Xuanji bowed his head and said respectfully, "Meetings, old ancestor Jin. You are very good and lucky. Would you like to be my disciple?" The old ancestor Xuanji spoke. His voice was soft like the whisper of spring breeze, but his words were full of the meaning of not being rejected. "Why is that?" Lu Xuanji was puzzled and asked, "Grand Master, I only have 3 spiritual roots and average qualifications. Am I not worthy of being your disciple?" 3 spiritual roots are considered geniuses in the Lu family and have good qualifications. But in the Danliang sect, it is nothing, just an outer disciple. Similarly, 3 spiritual roots are nothing in the eyes of the Chindan patriarch. It's like in the previous life, someone graduated from Fudan University and was considered a top figure in the village and the county, but in the whole country, a graduate from Fudan University is just a very inconspicuous character. No reason, just because you are lucky. Luck is very important in the world of cultivation. Just like me, if I was not born in a cultivation family, how could I be born with the spiritual roots of gold and earth? If it weren't for my father's help, how could I achieve the golden pill at the age of 178? The Jinxie patriarch said lightly, and said, and you are very lucky, there is a chance to change your destiny in the future. Xuanji was silent and hesitant. It seems to be a good treatment to become a disciple of the giant and patriarch. Not to mention a true disciple, just a registered disciple is good. At least it is relatively easy to obtain the skills. It is relatively easy to exchange some elixirs and resources. Many times, some elixirs, some spiritual tools, and rare resources cannot be bought with money, and certain channels are required. Take the Dandayang sect as an example. If you want to exchange the foundation building pill, those who have connections can exchange it in advance, but those who have no connections will have to delay for a while. There are great benefits to becoming a disciple, but at this moment, Xuanji hesitated. I'm sorry, ancestor, the family treats me well, especially when the Lu family encountered disasters and is weak. I plan to stay in the Lu family. Xuanji said, and he was a little reluctant at the beginning, but gradually, his tone became firm. You have to think it over? The old ancestor Jinzi spoke, suppressing him with an inexplicable pressure, and said, on the road of cultivation, Dharma, friends, wealth and land are indispensable. Many times, choice is more important than hard work. Just like my maid Longzuan, she only has 3 spiritual roots of water, wood and gold. She can only be regarded as a genius in the world of cultivation. She has hope of building a foundation, but not much hope of purple mansion. But after becoming my maid and following me, she is only 270 years old, and has reached the 9th level of purple mansion. At this moment, she is constantly polishing her true essence, and tempering her body. In the future, she has the hope of becoming a golden elixir cultivator. He looked at Longzuan, and hinted at something. Longzuan understood in her heart, and also said with a smile, young master, it is a supreme fortune to worship my young lady as your teacher. If you have the guidance of my young lady, your future on the road of cultivation will be even broader. The secret manuals of skills, elixir resources, spiritual veins and minerals, golden elixir guidance, etc. are all great fortunes. I'm sorry, I failed the kindness of the ancestor. Xuanji apologized again. Longzuan said anxiously, young master, do you know what you have lost? You are not a natural spiritual root, an extraordinary spiritual root, or one of the top geniuses, but a person with 3 spiritual roots, just an ordinary genius. If you don't have a great opportunity, the calamity of a purple mansion will make you fall and turn into dry bones on the road. I have seen too many geniuses in my life. Some have amazing aptitude and are natural spiritual roots. Some have special physiques and amazing cultivation speed. Some have amazing talents and are geniuses. Some have incredible comprehension and can learn many techniques at once. And some have amazing wisdom and are smart and flexible. And I'm just a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots. In terms of aptitude, physique, talent, comprehension, wisdom, etc., I'm not as good as them. But after 100 years, most of them have turned into yellow earth and been forgotten by the world, or they are unknown and lost in the crowd. But I have become a great cultivator of the purple mansion and have the hope of becoming a golden elixir. Many cultivators always believe that man can conquer nature. They all think that their will can overcome everything. Unfortunately, reality is cruel. Hard work may not lead to success, and genius may not be invincible. Many things are not subject to one's own will. Young master, don't be stubborn. The maid tried very hard to persuade him. Ancestor Jinzi was silent, saying nothing. Xuanji bowed again and said, Ancestor Jin, I'm sorry. I failed your kindness. The Lu family can't do without me. Forget it. I wanted to take you as my apprentice, but unfortunately we are not destined to be together. As Ancestor Jinzi spoke, his powerful aura subsided, and there was an unspeakable sense of desolation and a hint of sadness in his words. Swish. The next moment, a golden token fell into Xuanji's hand. There were only 2 words written on this token, Jinzi. Take this, it can save your life at a critical moment. Ancestor Jinzi said. Thank you, Ancestor. Lu Xuanji did not refuse and directly put the golden token into the storage bag. Swish. The next moment, he felt that the surroundings were changing, and he was already at the foot of the mountain, and at this moment he had been sent down by ancestor Xuanji. After bowing respectfully, Lu Xuanji turned and left. Chapter 63 B-Town, Big Brother. Seemingly a little unhappy, the Jinxie patriarch casually lay on the rattan chair, showing off his beautiful body. A jar of wine appeared in his white jade-like hand. The jar tilted slightly, and the wine flowed into his red lips. His chest rose and fell slightly, and the wine gurgled into his stomach. At this moment, she behaved very unladylike. Only the maid Long Xuan was here, but she was not worried about damaging her image. Master, you have to use this person as a chess piece, make a plan in Qingshu County, and take the opportunity to open a gap and chew. Long Xuan's eyebrows jumped, and her eyes flashed. She seemed to be thinking about the next plan. From Zhang's how to chew, the situation faced by the master was not good. Some giant and elders in Dandayang sect were ostracizing and suppressing him. Even some cultivator families in Qingshu County were half-hearted about the master, and had their own thoughts. Using Lu Xuanji as a chess piece, and using the Lu family as a breakthrough point can open up some situations. Chess piece. The tone of Patriarch Xuanji was somewhat ethereal and profound. He is not my chess piece, he is just one of my hopes. Hope. Long Xuan frowned, thought carefully and said, he doesn't seem to have anything special. There are some things that I don't know. He may become an unparalleled strong man in the future, standing at the top of the world, or he may be ordinary and lost in the crowd. Patriarch Xuanji stood up, looked into the distance, turned his back to Long Xuan, and said melodiously, I'm just investing. Success is good, and failure is not a big loss. Long Xuan seemed to understand and thought, this is a venture capital. Remember to recruit some disciples this year, the standards are relatively low, and the character is relatively high. Patriarch Xuanji said, give them a chance, and give me a chance. Hoo-hoo. Looking at the distant Xiang mountain, Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. Rejecting Patriarch Xuanji may lose a great opportunity, but he has no regrets in his heart. Thinking of the elders at home, thinking of Yu Fixu, thinking of his father and mother, his heart became more determined. Looking back on the journey, the plan was perfect. The 3 life treasures, the Lihuo sword, the wings of freedom, and the Bushanding, were all successfully refined. In the storage bag, there was also a token of the Xuanji ancestor, which established a relationship with the ancestor, and allowed him to establish friendship with the Xuanji lineage in the future. This is a human connection. In the world of cultivation, human connections are very important. No family can guarantee that it will always be prosperous and always at its peak. Many families have ups and downs. When the family is in a trough, the role of human connections is very important. For example, now that the Lu family is in a trough, there are only 5 foundation building cultivators in the family, and the family's industries and spiritual fields have shrunk on a large scale. But relying on the human connections in the Dandayang school and Qingshu County over the past 100 years, it has played a certain effect, and many forces have to give face. The Lu family has also gained a respite accordingly. In a dangerous situation, it has the opportunity to recuperate, and has the possibility of rising again. It is very important for the Lu family to establish corresponding friendships and human connections with the Xuanji ancestral lineage. Next, it's time to go see my eldest brother and second sister. Lu Xuanji suddenly thought of his mother's instructions. The eldest brother has no spiritual roots, and has been living in the mortal world. The second sister has 5 spiritual roots, and lives in a market town. It is said that she has married. We haven't seen each other for decades, and it seems that the relationship has faded. This time I went to see them, and just happened to understand some of my mother's wishes. B-Town is located in the northwest of Luobai County. It is located in the southeast of the county seat, about 300 miles away from the county seat. After asking the county magistrate in the city for information, the location of B-Town was determined. As he walked, a small village appeared. In the northwest of the village, a river rushed past and disappeared into the distance. Near the river, there were children playing and women washing clothes. Near the river, there were one piece of cultivated land after another, and crops were planted in it. There were also some mortal farmers weeding in the fields. In the distance is a room with adobe houses, thatched houses, brick houses, etc. distributed on the high platform in the distance, converging into a large area. Looking at the scale of this village, there are about more than 1,000 households. Here, there is a strong rural atmosphere, and some pear trees, fruit trees, etc. are planted near the entrance of the village, and some willows, cypresses, pine trees, etc. are scattered in the courtyards of some farmers. Looking at this place, Xuanji has a different feeling. The spiritual energy in the village is thin, and monks will not come here. This village is a mortal village. There are no monks in it, just mortals, and some warriors. Looking at this village, Xuanji thought of his previous life. The countryside in his hometown in his previous life was also like this. I remember that I often went to the fields to harvest corn, rice, etc. Brother, it's in this village. Xuanji stepped forward and arrived at the entrance of the village. Sir, who are you looking for? At the entrance of the village, an old man asked vigilantly. It seemed that he was afraid that he was a human trafficker. I'm here to look for someone. I'm Xuanji's relative. He's my elder brother. Xuanji said. Brother Xuanji, that is, the master of the Lu family. Wait a minute, I'll take you this way. The old man said, entertaining warmly. Thank you, old man. Xuanji said modestly. The old man walked in front, and Xuanji followed closely behind, half a step slower. The old man asked, what's your name? Who are you to that Master Lu? My elder brother is Xuanji's. I'm here to see my brother. Xuanji said, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Master Lu is a good person, but someone in the family has been sick recently. The old man was very talkative and talked about some things in the Lu family. Xuanji also listened carefully. The village was not big, and soon they arrived in front of a brick house, and the old man knocked on the door. Ding ding ding. Soon, the black iron gate opened, and a servant appeared and asked, Uncle Zhao, who are you looking for? The uncle smiled and said, no, I'm looking for someone, but the one behind is looking for someone. As he said that, he automatically stepped aside, revealing Xuanji. Sir, what's your name? The servant asked vigilantly. Xuanji, your master's third brother. Xuanji said, is my eldest brother here? You are the third master. The servant was a little skeptical, but seemed to have thought of something, and couldn't help asking, you are the immortal master? I guess so. Xuanji nodded. In the world of cultivation, not all have a future. Those cultivators with 5 spiritual roots who feel that there is no future in the world of cultivation directly go to the mortal world to make a living, and are also called immortal masters. Third master, come in. The servant smiled and invited eagerly. Xuanji said, thank you, uncle. Then he entered the courtyard. After entering the courtyard, he observed the surroundings. There were water tanks and mulberry trees in the courtyard. The ground was made of bluestone slabs, and some maids and servants were walking. This was a standard landlord family. The servant came forward to report, and soon another servant ran to report. When they arrived in the living room, the servant poured tea directly and stood respectfully. Xuanji picked up the teacup and took a sip gently. The taste was not as good as the spiritual tea, but he still drank a sip, which was considered polite. Not long after waiting, an old man appeared, leaning on a cane in his hand, with a very thin appearance, sparse hair on his head with faint white hair, wearing a black jacket, and a goatee under his neck, looking like a 60-year-old man. You are the third brother? The old man asked. Big brother. Xuanji stepped forward and grabbed the big brother's hand. Familiar blood breath, familiar feeling. This was the first time he saw the big brother, but he was sure that the old man was his big brother. Appearance can be disguised, but the aura of blood and the sense of closeness in the body cannot be disguised no matter what. Chapter 64 Brothers Meet. When brothers meet for the first time, they have endless things to say. Third brother is still young, but I'm old. The eldest brother Xuanji said sadly with a hint of loss in his eyes. When he awakened his spiritual roots, he had no spiritual roots, and could only become a mortal, and live in the mortal world. Over the years, his parents occasionally came to see him, but this third brother was the first time to see him. He felt close to this younger brother, but also very unfamiliar. Brother, the situation of our Lu family is not good. Not long ago, the ancestor of the family, Purple Mansion, passed away, and the situation is critical. Another ancestor of the Purple Mansion has descended and attacked. The Lu family suffered heavy losses. Most of the foundation building cultivators, late stage key training cultivators, etc. were all killed, and less than 1/10 of the cultivators remained. Lu Xuanji talked about the past of the family and said, the situation of the family is not good. If you have any difficulties, I can solve one or two. The Lu family has encountered a big crisis. The eldest brother Lu Xuanxin was a little nervous and worried about the Lu family, but when he thought about how he was just a mortal and could not help the family, he smiled and said, I came to live in the mortal world when I was 6 years old. Living in a mortal family, my mother often came to see me and gave me some gold and silver, some elixirs, and some martial arts secrets. I have had enough food and clothing over the years, and I have many children and grandchildren. I have lived a good life over the years. As long as my brother is happy. Lu Xuanji comforted her and took out some pill bottles and some sundries from the storage bag and began to introduce these items. These are all prepared by your mother for you. These are 3 Xianshan pills. If you take them, they can help mortals become Xianshan warriors. This is Baiyang pill. You can take at most 1 pill per month, and taking too much will cause indigestion. This is Tangmei pill, which can open up the meridians of the human body. This is Huli pill, which can be used to temper the body and strengthen the blood. He took out some pill bottles and began to count and introduce them. If you don't have spiritual roots, you can only become a mortal. If a mortal wants to become stronger, he can only practice martial arts. These pills are all pills needed for practicing martial arts. They are of lower grade, and mother can also make them. The upper limit of martial arts is too low. Even if you become a Xianshan warrior, it is only equivalent to the 3rd level of key training. But the cultivators of the 3rd level of key training have talismans, flying swords, etc., and their combat effectiveness is far better than that of Xianshan warriors. When the two confront each other, the Xianshan warrior has a winning rate of less than 3 levels. After receiving the Danliang bottles, the eldest brother Lu Xuanxin collected the pills and put them into the storage bag, looking a little depressed. Brother, this is 500 taels of silver, which mother gave you. Lu Xuanji handed over another 500 taels of silver and placed it on the table. The eldest brother Lu Xuanxin sighed and asked unwillingly, third brother, is it really impossible to cultivate immortals without spiritual roots? Yes. Lu Xuanji spoke. Looking at his eldest brother's lost look, he thought of what the ancestor Jinzi said, and couldn't help but said, a senior said, that there are 2 ways to allow mortals to give birth to spiritual roots. One is for the nascent soul cultivator to consume some of his essence, to give birth to spiritual roots for mortals. The other is to take the 5th grade creation fruit, which can also allow mortals to give birth to spiritual roots. I'm not the son of a nascent soul cultivator. How could a nascent soul cultivator consume his essence to give birth to spiritual roots for me? Allowing mortals to give birth to spiritual roots is an act against the will of heaven. I think the nascent soul cultivator will also have to pay a huge price. As for the 5th grade spiritual fruit, it costs at least tens of millions of spirit stones, which is almost impossible to obtain. The eldest brother Lu Xuanxin said bitterly, and he said almost nothing. Lu Xuanji said, brother, it is a tragedy that you have no spiritual roots and are just immortal. But cultivators with spiritual roots don't have a good life either, and the world of cultivation is very inward looking. Just take a look at some time ago, more than a dozen foundation building cultivators from our Lu family were killed. The reason I was able to escape was not because I was strong or smart, but because I was too weak. You have to be careful, said the eldest brother Lu Xuanxin. Brother, how have you been these years? The eldest brother Lu Xuanxin said, not bad. I have been in B-Town for more than 30 years. I have established a family business here, with 5,000 acres of land, several shops in the county town, and married a girl from the Yi family. Now I have 8 concubines, 26 children, and about 100 grandchildren. I'm old, and in poor health. I can only sleep with 2 concubines every day. I'm still not capable, and the family business I have built is a bit small. More than half of the fields in B village are occupied by me, and 60% of the population are tenants of my family. The expansion of land in B town has reached its limit, and we can only go to other towns. After the call, the servant brought a jar of fine wine and a plate of peanuts. The wine was poured into the wine glass, and the two brothers clinked their glasses and began to drink. The eldest brother talked about his experiences in the mortal world in various stories. Xuanji listened with great interest. This is a story about the rise of Zhaopaopi. There is a warm side here, building water conservancy, developing business, and providing relief to disaster victims. But there is also a ruthless and murderous side, destroying some competitors by insidious means. In this process, there is a battle of wits and courage, and there are also various trade-offs and games of interests. The eldest brother has done a lot of good things, and a lot of bad things, which can no longer be simply judged by good and evil. In this way, temporarily living in the eldest brother's house, the eldest brother tells stories, talks about the things of these years, and the two brothers exchange feelings. 3 days later, the eldest brother Lu Xuanxi's sons, daughters, grandsons, grandchildren, etc., about hundreds of people gathered in the old house. Wana died 5 years ago, and I didn't remarry. These are my concubines. The eldest brother introduced. One by one, the beautiful women came to see him, and called him Uncle San. Lu Xuanji returned the gift, one uncle per person. Hello, Uncle San. There was another clatter, and a group of people knelt on the ground. Lu Xuanji presented gifts again. Greetings, third grandfather. Another group of grandchildren knelt on the ground, kneeling down in a rush. The youngest had just learned to walk, and the oldest had already married and had children. Lu Xuanji presented another gift. The wine table was set, and there was singing and dancing, and they began to celebrate the arrival of this third uncle, third grandfather. Brother, I envy you for having so many children and grandchildren, and marrying 8 concubines. I'm still single now, and I only practice, and practice every day. Lu Xuanji said, really envious. If a cultivator's primordial yang is not damaged, there will be certain benefits when he breaks through a great realm. Father also married and gave birth to the 3 of us. After he established his foundation, the ancestor also enjoyed the pleasures of men and women after he broke through the purple mansion. As for you, you should continue to endure it. The eldest brother smiled and continued to tease. Third brother, you should continue to endure it. This is the price of immortality. Immortality always comes at a price. Lu Xuanji smiled bitterly and said, reject the temptation of beauty, reject the temptation of power, reject the temptation of power. Not being tempted is not because of a firm will, but just for immortality. No more talking, drink. Cultivation is for immortality, but what is immortality for? It is to realize one's own desires. The supreme forgetfulness does not mean that there are no desires, but rather great desires. Giving up small desires and seeking great desires is the supreme forgetfulness. Chapter 65 Unwilling. The banquet continued, the celebration continued, and many children and adults were curious about this third uncle. Chapter 66 Bones and Souls. It was midnight, and the night was dark. B-Town became quiet and peaceful, and the world became extremely deserted, with only the moon emitting a silver light. Cack, clack, clack. The crows were calling, flying through the void, and into the distance. In the night, only the lights in the study were still bright. Lu Xuanxin held the white bone relic in his hand, and there was a flash of heat in his eyes. The white bone relic was obtained by killing a cultivator at the 2nd level of key training. After obtaining it, I never thought of a specific use, and I kept it carefully. Until a few days ago, my third brother said something. Legend has it that some Yuanian cultivators sacrifice some of their essence to give birth to spiritual roots for mortals, but unless it is their own son, no Yuanian cultivator will pay such a price. This white bone relic has 3 golden textures on it, and it was forged by a Yuanian cultivator. With this white bone relic, everything is possible. First try to cut it with a carving knife. Try to carve some bone powder to take. The carving knife was just blunt, and before it could carve out a bit of bone powder, the bone relic that looked like white jade was terribly solid and difficult to cut. Then, it was another blood sacrifice. After the blood dripped, it had a slight connection with the bone relic, but it was useless to activate the bone relic, just like a piece of beautiful jade. That's it. Lu Xuanji flashed a trace of cruelty and swallowed the bone relic on the spot. Gurgle, gurgle. As the bone relic was swallowed, there was no feeling at the beginning. But gradually, it felt like a raging fire was burning in the stomach, and then all the internal organs were in severe pain. Not only that, the bones, muscles, blood, internal organs, etc. all sent severe pain. The flesh seemed to be torn apart, and the whole body was in extreme pain. The pain reached the extreme, and I wanted to faint. But I was particularly energetic and couldn't faint. Under the severe pain, Lu Xuanji wanted to struggle and shout a few times, but his voice was hoarse, and he couldn't shout. After the intense burning, the body felt cold and chilly, as if it had entered an ice cave, as if it was winter. The body was shaking violently, and this cold feeling seemed to freeze the soul. After an unknown period of time, the ice began to dissipate. The body was twisting, and in the intense pain, it was as if it was being cut by 1,000 knives, as if countless sharp blades were cutting into the body, and the pain was getting worse. I experienced the numbness, itchiness, and other pains again, and tasted all kinds of pain. After an unknown period of time, the pain was constantly dissipating, and the body finally returned to normal. Crack, crack. The feet stepped on the floor, and the floor broke apart. The body's strength became stronger, and it doubled on the original basis. But the next moment, I felt dirty, with black mud on my body, and it smelled bad, as if I hadn't taken a shower for a month. The smell was unpleasant. I got up, and went to the bathroom. The bathroom was built with fire bricks, and connected to the underground hot spring. Just turn on the switch and warm spring water will flow into the bath. As the hot spring water entered, I kept wiping my body, and suddenly the old skin fell off, and the dirt on my body was washed down by the hot spring. The originally clear hot spring water gradually became dirty, and the floor drain was opened to drain the dirty water. After washing 3 or 5 times in a row, the dirt on my body was clean. The skin became whiter and more delicate, like a baby. Looking at the glass mirror, I saw a middle-aged man in the mirror, heroic and vigorous. Most importantly, the wrinkles on his face were gone, the age spots were gone, and the white hair was gone. He was completely a middle-aged man. Rejuvenation. I have changed from a 70-year-old to a 30-something. Lu Xuanji was delighted, with endless joy in his heart. No longer calm as before, smiling like a child, his heart became younger. Even if you are extremely beautiful, even if you have great power, and the mountains and rivers are vast, it is not as good as immortality. Only by immortality, only by living, can you enjoy the beauty of time, the taste of beauty, the taste of power, and the vanity brought by the mountains and rivers. I have spiritual roots. Lu Xuanji was delighted and tried to practice the Qi Yang Ju. He immediately felt that the spiritual energy between heaven and earth became lively. A stream of spiritual energy entered his body like flowing water, and was being refined bit by bit, and his body was strengthening. I have spiritual roots. This joy is indescribable. I don't know what spiritual roots are. Lu Xuanji was delighted, put on his clothes, and returned to the study. He opened a storage bag, and took out the black stone. He pressed his palm on the black stone, and the black stone emitted a bright light. He has spiritual roots. He took out 8 crystal balls again. The 8 crystal balls represent 8 attributes, representing gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, and ice. The first 5 attributes, the fewer the better, represent purity. The last 3 attributes represent special spiritual roots. Press the palm on the crystal ball, the light ball shines. Press on another one, it still shines. One after another, the originally happy mood gradually becomes gloomy. When pressing the 5th light ball, the light ball fly shines. 5 spiritual roots. After great joy, enter great sorrow. After swallowing the white bone relic, the spiritual roots were born after birth, which is great joy. But after great joy, it was discovered that it was 5 spiritual roots. 5 spiritual roots, also known as waste spiritual roots. It is talking about 5 spiritual roots, which are useless among cultivators. After a lifetime of hard training, the 5th level of Qi training is the limit. As for foundation building, there is no hope. Even if the foundation is built, the resources consumed are 10 times more than that of the same generation of cultivators. Without that power, it is not worth spending too many resources on 5 spiritual roots. I'm already 70 years old, and I have 5 spiritual roots. Even if I can practice, it's almost impossible to build a foundation. Lu Xuanxi's eyes flashed with despair. The saddest thing in life is to just get hope and fall into despair again. Buzz buzz buzz. At this moment, the white-boned relic made a violent sound, and a series of thoughts flashed, transforming into a majestic emperor wearing a Taoist robe, elegant and proud, and at the same time, a passage of scriptures began to be taught. The bones are like a mountain. Forgetting the surname, nothing but the young master in the red macupe. Killing 100 people is a ghost. Killing 10,000 people is a demon. Killing 1,000,000 people is the demon emperor. My name is the white-bone demon emperor. You have inherited my white-bone demon sect, and you should inherit my magic path. This is the white-bone soul-stealing technique. The white-bone relic sent a series of thoughts, but after sending these thoughts, it seemed to have exhausted its power, and the light of the white-bone relic dimmed. White-bone soul-stealing technique. Lu Xuanxin frowned slightly, experiencing this magic secret technique. White-bone soul-nourishing technique. Kill a key practitioner monk, seize his spiritual roots, and promote the transformation of your own spiritual roots. Kill 10 key practitioners monks, seize their spiritual roots, and transform them into 4 spiritual roots. Kill 10 foundation building monks, seize their spiritual roots, and transform them into 3 spiritual roots. Kill 10 purple mansion monks, seize their spiritual roots, and transform them into 2 spiritual roots. Kill 10 golden core monks, seize their spiritual roots, and transform them into heavenly spiritual roots. In the continuous killing, devour the spiritual roots of the monks, use their spiritual roots as fertilizer, nourish your own spiritual roots, promote the transformation of spiritual roots, and transform them into heavenly spiritual roots. Transform in the killing, and rise in the killing. Chapter 67. 7 Veins of Demonic Path. At the moment, when Lu Xuanxin received the inheritance of the Demon Emperor, in the void, a huge aura rose into the sky, and the breath of the Demon Dao leaked out. The breath of the Demon Emperor suppressed the 8 wastelands in 6 directions. This is the breath of the Demon Dao's peerless strongman. At this moment, one breath after another was sensed. This is the breath of the Demon Dao. The inheritance of the white-bone lineage has appeared again. If it is obtained by someone, another demon emperor will be born in the future. The top cultivators in the Chu state sensed it and went to look for opportunities. Some cultivators shouted to kill the demon head, and some took advantage of the fire to rob. All kinds of cultivators took action and went to the place where the demonic energy appeared. Xiang Mountain. In the cave, the old ancestor Xuanji had just finished practicing and suddenly felt a huge demonic energy appearing in the distance. The demonic energy carried supreme pressure, as if a demon emperor had descended. Swish. The old ancestor Xuanji ended his retreat, walked out of the cave, and looked into the distance. 5,000 miles away, there was a demonic energy rising. The Bone Demon Emperor. This is the breath of the Supreme Demon. Legend has it that 300 years ago, the Bone Demon Emperor was besieged by 3 immortal Yuanying's engines, and died on the spot. But the opponent also suffered heavy losses. 1 Yuanying's engine died, 1 Yuanying was seriously injured, and 1 Yuanying was slightly injured. The Bone Demon Emperor died, but the bone relics he left behind are nowhere to be found. Some cultivators, by chance, actually obtained the bone relics. If someone gets the bone relics, they will definitely enter the demon path, killing people constantly, and there will be mountains of corpses and seas of blood. A trace of worry flashed in the eyes of the Jinxi Patriarch. The Bone Demon Emperor is a demon cultivator in the late Yuanying period. His magic skills are unparalleled. Legend has it that he has the hope of entering the great cultivation of the God of Transformation. But because of this, he was sniped by the immortal Yuanying and finally died. In that battle, the bone relics disappeared. The bone relics of that grade already have 3 golden lines, which are very beneficial to cultivators. I'm afraid that some cultivators will conceal the white bone relic after obtaining it, causing endless killing. The magic skills are mostly based on killing. The 7 veins of the magic path. The Huangquan demon sect likes to devour ghosts. control ghosts, and refine the 100 ghost banner. The White Bone Demon sect uses bones as materials to refine various magic weapons. The Hehuan Demon sect emphasizes the dual cultivation of yin and yang, and often falls into silver chaos and entanglements in the world of mortals. The Blood Shadow Demon sect relies on killing, absorbing blood, and improving its cultivation. The Zombie Demon sect uses corpses as its foundation to refine zombie puppets. The Goo Demon sect uses goo insects as its foundation, and the Cold and Dark Supreme Demon sect enjoys playing with the feelings of all living beings. The 7 veins of the magic path have been passed down from ancient times to the present, and have experienced tens of millions of years. At some stages, they were once annihilated by immortal cultivators, but the magic path will soon usher in a revival. Because of unwillingness, as long as the cultivator is unwilling, he may become a demon at any time. Any cultivator who is unwilling to give up may become a demon cultivator. Many cultivators with 5 or 4 spiritual roots have almost no chance to build a foundation because of their poor aptitude. Some of them are unwilling to be mediocre all their lives, unwilling to roll around in the key training period, and want to build a foundation, become a purple mansion, or even a golden elixir. So these cultivators began to practice some fast-paced, hidden danger-prone exercises that can prove the way. If there is none, then create some exercises on your own. It is very difficult to create a perfect flawless exercise without defects. But it is not difficult to create some exercises with many loopholes and flaws, but fast practice speed. This is the original magic way. Many casual cultivators embarked on a path of pursuing speed, but ignoring other things. This path is called the magic way. Many people died on the road of cultivating demons, and turned into dry bones. But there are always peerless geniuses who forcibly walked out of a brand new path in the midst of hardships. These geniuses are the ancestors of the magic way. The first casual cultivators were not called casual cultivators, but wild cultivators. Wild cultivators, without orthodox techniques, were like scattered sand. In the early days, the immortal sects monopolized everything, prohibiting the leakage of foundation building techniques, foundation building pills, and various resources. The immortal sects stipulated that cultivators were not allowed to build foundations without ordination certificates. Wild cultivators who were building foundations could be killed by anyone. Every once in a while, the immortal sects would hunt down wild cultivators, like they were hunting rabbits. The scattered cultivators at that time were miserable. As a result, a peerless genius appeared among the scattered cultivators. Under the pursuit of the immortal sects, he continued to become stronger, and finally achieved enlightenment and godhood. After achieving enlightenment and godhood, he hated the immortal sects for hunting him down, and began to fight with the immortal sects. The fierce battle lasted for 1,000 years, and countless immortal sects declined and were destroyed, leading to a major change in the pattern of the cultivation world. Countless immortal sects chose to retire. That scattered cultivator even founded the Blood Shadow Demon sect, becoming the earliest demon sect. Later, the 7 demon sects appeared one after another. Because of the threat of the demonic path, the immortal path had to win over the middle and low level cultivators, and was relatively open to various kinds of skills, elixirs, etc. It no longer hunted the independent cultivators like hunting rabbits, killing them mercilessly, but chose to win them over and exploit them at the same time. Gradually, the current pattern of the cultivation world was formed. Not good. Sensing the breath of the demonic path leaking out, Lu Xuan felt a little uneasy. Good and evil cannot coexist. Demonic cultivators often hunted down righteous cultivators and scolded them as hypocrites. Righteous cultivators often killed demon cultivators, saying that they would slay demons and eliminate demons. He was stained with the breath of the demonic path and embarked on the lineage of the white bone demon cultivator. If he was discovered by the righteous cultivators, he would surely die. Not only would he be killed, but his family would also be killed. He wanted to say goodbye to his family, but after thinking about it, he gave up and left the courtyard directly, immediately went to B-Town, and walked towards the depths of the mountains. The farther away from home, the better. The farther away from home, the safer. Looking back, it was still in the dark. Goodbye, I'm on the road to immortality. Looking at B-Town, he left here and walked towards the mountains. The breath of the devil. Maybe a magic treasure has appeared. At this moment, Lu Xuanji saw a tacit understanding surge 300 miles away. He took a look and continued on his way. He didn't have the slightest intention of approaching and snatching the treasure. How big your ability is, how big your meal is. If he was a giant and cultivator, he wouldn't mind going forward to snatch it, and wouldn't mind going forward to snatch the magic treasure, but he was only at the first level of foundation building, and going up would be a meal. It's possible that he would be killed by a sword by a certain ancestor as a demon cub. The 4 major sects of Chu are all righteous sects. They hate demon cultivators. If they find that there are cultivators practicing demonic techniques, they will kill them directly without mercy. Every year, some cultivators are wiped out as demon cultivators. The world of cultivation lacks everything, but there is no shortage of innocent dead ghosts. Swish. He left directly in the opposite direction, and this time he was going to see his second sister. My second sister has 5 spiritual roots but poor aptitude. I heard that she is already married. Now is a good time to go visit her and her family. Chapter 68 Data Alchemy. Arriving at the county town, Lu Xuanji met his second sister and his second brother-in-law. They were living well. His second sister was only at the 2nd level of key training, and his second brother-in-law was only at the 3rd level of key training. They were at the bottom of the cultivation world. Their cultivation prospects were not great, but they were cultivators after all, and were respected as immortal masters in the mortal world. When a person reaches the 3rd level of key training in the mortal world, he can become a city lord and guard a place. His second brother-in-law was now a county magistrate in a county town, responsible for managing the civilians. When a person reaches the 3rd level of key training, he can refine and manufacture some elixirs, spiritual tools, formations, talismans, etc. Although these products are of low grade and mediocre quality, there is almost no market for them in the cultivation world. But in the mortal world, these products are very popular. His second sister and his second brother-in-law made a good living in the mortal world by selling these products. After meeting Lu Xuanji, his second sister and his second brother-in-law entertained him warmly, got close to each other, and asked him some questions. After staying for 3 or 5 days, Lu Xuanji left some gifts. 10 days later, Lu Xuanji returned to Changyuan Mountain. This time when he went down the mountain, he traveled for about 3 years and experienced a lot of things. In Wujiafang Market, he was ambushed by Wu Quanwen and almost capsized. In Xiang Mountain, he listened to the preaching of the ancestor Jinzi and almost became the disciple of this ancestor. He also met his eldest brother and second sister. He wanted to get close to them, but there was a gap. He gained a lot. Not only did he refine 3 life magic weapons, his combat effectiveness was greatly improved. He also understood a lot of truths through the preaching of the ancestor Jin, avoided some thunder points, and took fewer detours. When he returned to Changyuan Mountain, Lu Xuanji was the first to pay homage to the elder, but the elder was in seclusion. He was looking for Yi Fixu again, but she was also in seclusion. He was looking for his father again, and his father was also in seclusion. Only the 6th aunt Lu Jingxiu was in charge of Changyuan Mountain. According to the family rules, we take turns to retreat and sit in Lingshan. 6th aunt Lu Jingxiu said, "You also know that it takes 20 or even 30 years to upgrade a level in the foundation building period. The lifespan of the foundation building period is 240 years. It seems that the lifespan is very long, but it is actually very short. It will be gone in the blink of an eye. Those aspiring cultivators will spend 80% of their time on cultivation. As for other chores, they will take turns to deal with them, or hand them over to the key training cultivators below." Xuanji, you don't have much time. Yes, I don't have much time. Lu Xuanji frowned and calculated the time. The lifespan of 240 years in the foundation building period seems very long, but it is actually very short. There was no extra words, and he went directly into the cave and began to practice in seclusion. In the early stage of key training, because the toughness of the meridians is limited, you have to rest after practicing for a period of time, but after the foundation is built, the toughness of the meridians is improved, and you can continue to practice continuously to accelerate the improvement of your cultivation. In the cave, the spiritual energy in the spirit cave was surging, and it was constantly surging into the Danshan, and was refined into a trace of true essence. The true essence was deposited in the Danshan and accumulated continuously. Only when the true essence was filled in the Danshan, the first level of foundation building was completed. It originally took 12 years to enter the first level of foundation building, but because of the Lihuo sword, the wings of freedom, the Bushanding, etc., the speed of cultivation became slow, and the Bushanding purified the true essence, causing the speed to slow down again. It was estimated that it might take 20 years to enter the first level of foundation building. If there are some bottlenecks in the middle, it will take even longer. Many foundation building cultivators cannot enter the 9th level of foundation building before their lifespan is exhausted. It's a big trouble. Xuanji flashed a trace of worry. I still have to spend krypton gold, swallow pills, and absorb spirit stones to improve my cultivation. Thinking of this, his mind became more determined. Without the help of the power of pills and refining spirit stones, it would be difficult for him to enter the 9th level of foundation building before his lifespan is exhausted. It is difficult to achieve the 9th level of foundation building, let alone the impact of Purple Palace. As for swallowing pills, the poison will be precipitated. Refining spirit stones will cause the true essence to be empty, etc. It's just a small problem. Just like eating pork will cause high blood pressure, so should we not eat pork? The key is to weigh the pros and cons. As long as the pros outweigh the cons, it can be implemented. Click. Take out a spirit stone and start refining it. There is pure spiritual energy in the spirit stone, with very few impurities, which can be absorbed and refined by the cultivators faster, improving the speed of the cultivators. A piece of spirit stone contains a magnificent amount of spiritual energy, which is equivalent to the amount of spiritual energy that the foundation building cultivators absorb and exhale in a day at ordinary times. In just 1 hour, Xuanji refined a piece of spirit stone. After refining 10 spirit stones every day, the true essence increased a lot, but the true essence was a little empty. Xuanji urged the Bushanding to refine the true essence and purify the true essence. After half an hour of operation, the true essence became pure and there was no trace of emptiness. The rest of the time was spent meditating and sleeping, or taking care of the spiritual field, or trying to make pills. Starting with low-level pills, the first step is to extract the essence of the medicinal materials. There is no standard for the extraction process, it all depends on the feeling, because each medicinal material requires a different temperature. It all depends on the perception of the soul power. If the temperature is too high, it is easy to dissipate the medicinal power. If the temperature is too low, it cannot be accurately extracted. Next, the extracted essence must be quenched and fused. In the fusion process, the order of fusion of the medicinal liquid is different, and the resulting medicinal effect is also different. Finally, try to engrave the talisman in the pill. Take the talisman as the basis, and induce the perfect fusion of the medicinal liquid. After failing dozens of times in a row, Xuanji began to flip through the alchemy manual, looking for some rules from it, and gradually he really found some rules. Alchemy is not complicated. The reason why the threshold is high is that it requires fire and wood attributes, which can sense the temperature of flames and the condition of medicinal materials. More importantly, it relies on feelings and metaphysics, lacking reasonable standards and data. Since there is no standard, I will set it. Xuanji thought. The biggest use of mobile phones is big data collection and big data calculation. It can collect all the data of alchemy and makes a metaphysical thing scientific and data-based. Pills are no longer metaphysical things, but scientific data and equations. After taking out the ratio, Xuanji began to write and draw. At the same time, the data was collected and deduced, and deduction was also being carried out. Jade Emperor Ice. The extraction temperature is 372 degrees, the duration is 1 minute, and the fusion time is 2 seconds. 100 Flower Fruit. The extraction temperature is 572 degrees, the duration is 30 seconds, and the fusion time is 3 seconds. Xianling Fruit. The extraction temperature is 1200 degrees, the duration is 5 seconds, and the fusion time is 1 second and 7. Soon, a pill model data was established, and Xuanji began to make pills. 18 first grade elixirs were successfully refined. 6 second grade elixirs were also successfully refined. It was only because of the problem of familiarity and the error in the middle that 3 times failed, but the remaining 87 times were all successful. The efficiency of alchemy has been greatly improved. Unfortunately, I can only refine second grade elixirs. Third grade elixirs involve more than 100 medicinal materials, and more than 100 talismans must be engraved in the elixir. The loss of true energy and the damage to soul power are extremely huge. My cultivation is not enough to support it. Xuanji sighed. The higher the grade of the elixir, the more difficult it is to refine. Without a strong cultivation base, it is impossible to refine it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, Second Level of Foundation Building. Time passed, and a year passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Xuanji's aura was surging, and he had already completed the first level of foundation building. The true essence in the Danshan and Meridians was already full, and it could not be increased anymore. The price was that 3,000 spirit stones were consumed in just 1 year. The annual income of ordinary foundation building cultivators was only between 300 and 500 spirit stones. The number of lost spirit stones was large, but the corresponding improvement speed was also fast. As for the weak foundation caused by absorbing spirit stones, it was also compensated by the Bushanding. The Bushanding can purify the true essence and improve the quality of the true essence. Whoosh! Xuanji urged the true essence to tear the Danshan and expand the Danshan. The volume of the Danshan was expanding, and it was also broken, but the true essence was repairing. Then, it tore the meridians again, expanding the width and toughness of the meridians. Continuously expanding and repairing. The true essence was consumed violently, and the volume of the Danshan was expanding, becoming more solid. After the volume of Danshan expanded by 3 layers, Xuanji also entered the foundation building stage. Whoosh! One after another, spiritual energy entered the acupoints and meridians, and after a circle, it was refined into true essence. Drops of true essence settled in Danshan. Feeling the improvement of cultivation, Xuanji was very satisfied. But he was out of money. There were only 300 spiritual stones left in his pocket. With the existence of Bushanding, I can continuously absorb spiritual stones to improve my cultivation without worrying about the emptiness of true essence, but it's too expensive. Xuanji was happy, but there was a hint of sadness. Brother, you are out of retreat. At the entrance of the cave, he happened to meet Yifixu. Out of retreat, Xuanji said. Brother, you have entered the second level of foundation building. Yifixu looked at her, a glimmer of light flashed in her eyes, and a hint of pressure swept over. Xuanji was slightly shocked and said, that's not as good as you. How many levels are you? Yifixu said, it's only the third level of foundation building. The speed is a bit slow. Old Versailles. You are flying. Flying is not as fast as you. It has only been 12 years since the foundation building, and you have reached the third level of the foundation building. Is this cheating? No. Yifixu is not cheating, but she is still very fast, beyond Superman. Xiaoxu, let me lend you something. Xuanji just thought for a moment, and handed over the Bushanding. This is a first grade spiritual weapon, very ordinary. Yifixu looked at it and frowned slightly. First grade spiritual weapons are very useful for key training cultivators, but not very useful for foundation building cultivators. Most foundation building cultivators use second grade spiritual weapons to fight. It can purify the true essence. Xuanji said. Yifixu listened, and her eyes lit up. Entering the purple mansion realm requires not only the accumulation of quantity, and entering the 9th level of the foundation building, it also requires qualitative improvement, such as the purification of the true essence and the improvement of the purity of the true essence. Many cultivators failed to break through the purple mansion, because the purity of their true essence was not high. Really? Yifixu took over the Bushanding, a trace of true essence entered it, and after a moment, she spit out a trace of true essence, which improved the purity a lot. It really works, equivalent to half a purple mansion pill. Yu Fixu's face was full of joy. The price of a purple mansion pill is 150,000 spirit stones, but half a purple mansion pill is equivalent to 70,000 spirit stones, and this half a purple mansion pill can be used frequently, which is quite effective. Brother, I will give it to you in 3 months. Yu Fixu said happily. There are 9 levels of foundation building, and each level is a small bottleneck. The bottleneck is the purity of true essence. She originally planned to settle for 3 years, improve the purity of true essence, and then enter the 4th level of foundation building. But with the Busha ending, it only takes 3 months to purify the true essence and enter the 4th level of foundation building. The elder is summoning us, saying that something happened. Yu Fixu said the purpose of her visit. The elder learned that you were in seclusion, so he waited for you for a month. What happened? Xuanji asked. One of our mines was attacked by bandits, causing heavy losses. 3 cultivators in the late stage of key refining died, and there were 52 dead cultivators. Yu Fixu said what happened. Arriving at the conference hall, the 5 foundation building cultivators of the Lu family gathered together. Although his father and 6th aunt were still injured, they also attended the meeting. Seeing Xuanji and Yu Fixu coming, the elder nodded, motioned for them to sit down, and directly pointed out the topic. Recently, a red copper mine of my Lu family was attacked. The Lu family cultivators suffered heavy casualties and lost 3,000 kilograms of red copper. Our Lu family suffered heavy losses, and we must avenge them. Who is the murderer? 6th Aunt Lu Jingxiu said. According to the traces of magic at the scene and the case analysis, it can be inferred that the murderer is the bandit cultivator Zhao Wuji. The elder said, Zhao Wuji is only at the 3rd level of foundation building, so it is not difficult to kill him. But we cannot be sure if he has helpers, what powerful magic weapons he has, where he is, and we cannot catch his trace. The most difficult thing in the battle between cultivators is not to kill the enemy, but to find the enemy's trace. I plan to take action myself, find Zhao Wuji's trace, and kill him. As he said this, the elder was murderous. Recently, some industries and minerals of the Lu family have been attacked by the bandit cultivator Zhao Wuji, and the Lu family has suffered heavy losses. If they do not respond, other bandits will also attack one after another. The Lu family must take action and strike hard to deter some tigers and wolves. Not right. At this time, Father Lu Jinwen spoke up and said, 7th uncle, it's not right, it's very wrong. 7th uncle is already at the 8th level of foundation building. He should hurry up and break through to the 9th level. This is the most critical. If 7th uncle is busy chasing Zhao Wuji outside, it will waste time and the gain will outweigh the loss. Yes, 7th uncle, your entry into the 9th level of foundation building is the biggest thing. As for other things, they are not important. Lu Jingxiu also said, why do the bandits dare to rob my Lu family? It's because they think my Lu family is weak. If a purple mansion cultivator is born, even if it is a half-step purple mansion, it will be of great significance. If I don't go, who will go? The great elder said, the 2 of you are seriously injured and have not recovered. As for Lu Xuanji and Yu Fixu, they are too young. I'm worried about them going out. Great elder, I think a mere Zhao Wuji is not worth your effort. Xiaoxu and I are also foundation building cultivators. We can already handle crisis on our own. Even if we are defeated, we can escape unscathed. Lu Xuanji said, flowers in a greenhouse will never grow up. But you 2 have good aptitudes and have hope for the purple mansion in the future. You are still too young. If you die outside, my Lu family can't afford the loss. The great elder said, a little worried. The outside world is not safe. 2 young people in the early stage of foundation building can easily be lost outside. If they die, the Lu family may fall into a period of transition. Looking at the younger generation, there is no one who can take on the responsibility. Great elder, I think the 2 children should go out and explore the world. Look for some opportunities. Father Lu Jinwen spoke up. It's not just about Zhao Wuji's problem, but also because the Lu family doesn't have enough resources. Now every month, we can only give Xuanji 300 spirit stones and Xiaoxu 200 spirit stones, and sometimes we can't even give them all. The Lu family has limited resources, not enough to train a purple mansion cultivator. If Xuanji and Xiaoxu want to have a bright future, they must venture out, hunt monsters, and look for opportunities, so that they can have a chance to enter the purple mansion stage. Staying in the Lu family, there is no chance at all. Chapter 70 Demon Cultivator, Thousand Corpse Formation. The Lu family's assets are not enough to train a purple mansion cultivator. Relying on farming, raising spirit beasts, refining elixirs, etc., the annual income barely maintains a balance, but there is almost no possibility of going further. The best thing is to go out and look for various opportunities. Staying at home, there will naturally be no so-called adventures. But if you walk around outside more, you can encounter adventures and great opportunities. The elder said, which of those giant ancestors did not have great adventures and great luck? Those with bad luck cannot become giant and cultivators. There are thousands of cultivators in the world, but none of them can achieve giant and through farming and hard practice. Some are reluctant and a little uneasy, but the elder still agreed. Before leaving, the elder reminded and told the precautions outside and took out a storage bag with 5,000 spirit stones in it. Great elder, this is too much money. Holding the bag, Lu Xuanji was a little embarrassed. There is not much money, this is all I have. The elder warned, the spiritual energy outside is thin. In order not to delay your cultivation, you can use spiritual stones to cultivate, so as not to slow down. Be careful outside. If you can kill Zhao Wuji, it would be the best. If you can't meet him, it doesn't matter. If the matter can be done, you can contact Lu Yanping, Lu Xiaoqin and others. They are the black gloves of my Lu family outside, responsible for handling some grey matters. Finally, the elder talked about some secrets of the Lu family. When some disciples of the Lu family made big mistakes and were expelled from the family, they would set up bases in some markets or some small spiritual mountains to handle some grey matters for the Lu family. The Lu family feared the rules of the Danliang sect, and there were some things they could not do. But those disciples who were expelled from the Lu family could do these things. Even if they were discovered, the Lu family could push it clean. This is what the disciples who were expelled from the family did, and it has nothing to do with the Lu family. These disciples who were expelled from the family are also the last guarantee of the Lu family. Once the Lu family is attacked by a powerful enemy and has no money to defend the mountain gate, these disciples who have been expelled from the family may become the only chance to revive the Lu family. The three of them were expelled from the family by ancestor Lu Fuping. On the one hand, they committed serious crimes and the ancestor could not protect them. On the other hand, ancestor Lu Fuping felt that some families had bad intentions towards the Lu family, so he lured the snake out of the hole and strangled some enemies in advance, but he still failed. Talking about the past, the elder sighed. In places that many people cannot see, there are some thrilling and exciting games. Before the death of ancestor Lu Fuming, he had paid some price, communicated with the Yi family and the Wu family, exchanged interests, stabilized the two families, and would give some care to the Lu family. He had also lured enemies in the dark many times to eliminate hidden dangers for the Lu family and killed 7 or 8 foundation building monks. It's a pity that ancestor Yan Yang was too cowardly and just didn't show up. He also expelled 3 foundation building monks and made the worst plan. Before his death, Patriarch Lu Fuming did a lot, but unfortunately, man's plans are not as good as God's plans. The Lu family was still attacked by Patriarch Yan Yang and almost destroyed. After preparing some things, Lu Xuanji and Yu Fixu quietly left Changyuan Mountain and headed for the distance. There is a sign inside, which can contact Lu Yanping, Lu Xiaoqin and other 2 foundation building monks. But Lu Xuanji thought for a moment, and gave up, because they were unreliable. First, he went to the Red Copper Mine, where dozens of key training monks were stationed to mine the veins. Every year, they could bring 1,500 spirit stones to the Lu family, which was one of the important incomes of the Lu family. But after being looted by the bandits, this vein was violently mined, and the tunnel was blown up, and the vein could no longer be mined. Dozens of Lu family monks died here. At this moment, it has become quiet. The murderer may have fled after looting here, and he would not stay there stupidly. The Chu state is too big, and the world is too big. The murderer will run away thousands of miles. after committing a crime, or simply hide his tracks and hide in the mountains. There is no possibility of tracking him. After leaving here, the two began to patrol the territory of the Liu family. The power of the Liu family has shrunk, and the population of Danyang County is less than 100,000. The shrinking population means that the number of new cultivators is also decreasing. 10 days later, they arrived at a town controlled by the Liu family. When they approached the town, they suddenly smelled blood. When they approached, they saw 3 corpses on the ground. When they approached the town, they immediately felt the air of death. There were about 3,000 people in the town, all of whom were slaughtered, and the corpses were spread all over the road. There were also some black armored soldiers lying on the ground, who seemed to have died in battle. The scene was a bit miserable and a bit scary. They were the black armored guards of the Liu family, an army composed of warriors, usually responsible for patrolling and maintaining order in the county in some small towns. The demon cultivators are making trouble. Lu Xuanji's eyes flashed with murderous intent. The demon cultivators lack resources, like to kill mortals, and pursue quick success. In the white bone demonic scripture, there is a secret magic technique. As long as 10,000 mortals are killed, a cultivator at the first level of key training can enter the first level of foundation building in just 3 years. This speed is more than 10 times faster than the heavenly spiritual route. Walking into the center of the town, I saw an ancient altar set up. On the altar was a white bone banner. A skull was carved on the black canvas. A trace of coldness and evil spirit spread out. The area within 100 meters was full of evil spirit. It was originally a sunny day, but it was cold here. Around the altar, the corpses of mortals were scattered around, and the bones were like mountains. On the altar stood an old man in a black robe. His face was wrinkled, and he was old and decayed, but he had a terrifying evil spirit on his body. Woo woo woo. The white bone demon banner was dancing, and there were thousands of mortal souls on it, struggling, roaring, and resentful. They died unwillingly, and their resentment was directed to the sky. You, the Liu family, are a little late. I've been waiting here for a day, and you just got here. You're a little slow. The old man snorted coldly, seeming to be a little disdainful. That older mortal didn't come. Today, this town is where you will be buried. I will let the flesh and blood of 2 foundation building monks be sacrificed to the white bone banner. 1,000 corpse array, rise. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the altar disappeared. At this moment, endless fog rose up, and the grey fog enveloped the town. Even the sun in the sky was covered, and the grey corpse fog began to erode the surroundings. Be careful, this is the 1,000 corpse array, a large array arranged with the corpses of thousands of mortals as the foundation. The mist emitted by the array is poisonous, and can silently erode the true essence of the monks. Be careful. Lu Xuanji reminded, and the next moment he took out a detoxification pill and held it in his mouth. He gave another one to Yi Fixu, who took it and held it in her mouth. In the White Bone Demon Sutra, it is recorded that the 1,000 corpse array, when it is running to the extreme, can kill the foundation building monks. The more corpses there are, the more powerful the formation is. There was once a demon cultivator who used millions of corpses as a foundation to set up a killing formation, and killed a giant cultivator. Chapter 71, Destroying the Demon. Crash, crash. With a series of noises, the dead bodies on the ground stood up one after another. Their bodies stiffened, like zombies. Their flexibility decreased significantly, but their strength and defense increased significantly. Damn it. A trace of evil flashed in Lu Xuanji's eyes, and he transmitted his thoughts. Xiaoxu, the 1,000 corpses formation is a pure yin formation, and it is most afraid of skyfire, sky thunder, etc. We can use the skyfire art to attack. Let's rush together and kill our way out of the formation. Okay. Yi Fixu nodded. A fiery red sword appeared on Lu Xuanji's palm, as if there were phoenix patterns on it, as if a phoenix was about to fly out. In the Danshan, the 12 talismans representing the skyfire art were running. After running a circle in the meridians, they entered the Lihuo sword, and turned into the power of the skyfire, and burned on the sword. Swish. At this moment, a zombie pounced over, with clumsy and fast movements. Clumsy means slow turning. Fast refers to the speed. The speed is so fast that it reaches 200 meters per second, which is not inferior to the speed of the foundation building monks. The zombies' movements are very clumsy, and their means of attack are also very simple, that is, biting with teeth and grabbing with hands, but the speed is too fast, and the fast speed is enough to make up for any shortcomings. Swish. Xuanji slashed with a sword, and the power of heavenly fire was added to the Lihuo sword. Sizzle. The zombie's head was shattered, but the zombie continued to kill, and its combat effectiveness did not decrease at all because of the loss of the head. At the same time, zombies in other directions besieged from all directions. Swish. On Xuanji's palm, the flying sword was flashing, as if swimming like a dragon and snake, as if it was changing up and down, as if it was dancing to its heart's content, and stabbing continuously in the void, and the bodies of the zombies exploded one after another, falling to the ground, and no longer moving. But at the same time, some zombies' bodies were broken, but they were still powerful, and continued to bombard. Kill. Xuanji urged the flying sword, the fire was flashing, the phoenix was flying, and he killed the zombies one by one. Bang! With the violent noise, the zombies fell to the ground one by one. Some were burned by the skyfire, and turned into ashes. Some zombies were burned more than half, but they were still strong, and continued to kill. He used the second sword to kill the zombies. He kept killing zombies. 1, 2, 3, and soon hundreds of zombies were killed. But Xuanji's true essence had also consumed more than 5 layers, and his body was a little tired. Zombies are not difficult to kill, but hundreds or thousands of them are enough to exhaust the true essence of a foundation building cultivator. Boom boom boom. At this moment, Yifixu pinched the seal formula, and attracted the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Suddenly, a fire cloud with a radius of 100 meters appeared in the void, falling from the sky, and burning the zombies. Fire cloud technique, a large-scale killing spell. But when the fire cloud technique dissipated, it only burned less than 50 zombies to death. The remaining zombies were severely burned, but they roared, and continued to attack. In terms of cost effectiveness, a group killing spell like the fire cloud technique is not as good as a single target spell. What should I do? Yifixu said with a little difficulty. These zombies are a bit difficult to kill. The zombies will not die unless the main corpse pill is destroyed. But the position of the corpse pill can be moved freely on the zombie's body. Unless the zombie is burned to ashes, it is difficult to kill the zombie. I was careless. Xuanji's breath was slightly fluctuating, and he took a yuan key pill to make up for the loss. In his mind, he was calculating how to break the 1000 corpse formation. Got it. Xuanji's eyes lit up, and suddenly he thought of something, and urged his mind to summon. The Bushanding appeared in the dungeon, but the Bushanding, which was the size of a palm, quickly grew larger, becoming 10 feet in size, and opened its mouth to absorb crazily. A zombie was sucked into it, and one after another, they entered the big cauldron. At the same time, the sky fire was burning in the cauldron, and the zombies that entered it were burned to ashes. The zombies were like moths to a flame, without any fear or avoidance, and entered the cauldron one after another. Whoosh. Soon, more than 1,000 zombies were taken into the cauldron and directly refined. Not knowing pain or fear, this is the biggest advantage of zombies, but at this moment it has become a fatal weakness, and they are heading towards death without any value. When the last zombie was burned to ashes, Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. Hey. At this moment, it was suddenly discovered that grey gas appeared on the body of the zombie that was burned to ashes. These grey gases were full of vitality, and seemed to have supreme luck. These grey gases were about to flow out, but they were blocked by the cauldron cover. Xuanji felt that his body was trembling slightly, as if he had a strong desire for these gases. Swish. With a thought, Xuanji took the Bushanding into his dungeon. A grey gas entered his body, and moisturized his body. It was like raindrops falling on a dry field. I felt indescribably comfortable. The hidden diseases and various minor injuries on my body were healing little by little. When the monks fought, they left hidden injuries on their bodies. Although they would heal after treatment or taking pills, the injuries would heal. But this kind of healing only healed most of the injuries. Some minor injuries could not be healed at all. It was like a broken bowl. After being repaired, it looked intact on the outside, but it was only intact on the surface. There were various minor cracks inside. The existence of these hidden injuries also affected the lifespan of the monks. The lifespan of a foundation building monk is 240 years, but because of the hidden injuries in the body, the lifespan of many foundation building monks is at most 200 years. But under the influence of these grey gases, these hidden injuries were healing little by little. There was no time to think about why, and the grey mist began to dissipate. As thousands of zombies were killed, the formation was naturally broken. Swish. At this moment, the black-robed demon cultivator appeared, with a grim expression, as if looking at two prey. Not bad, not bad. You actually broke the 1,000 corpse formation composed of 5,000 mortal corpses, which is good enough. But after a hard battle, how much true energy do you have left to fight? Die now. The black-robed demon cultivator sneered, urging the white bone banner, and a stream of white bone sword energy came to kill. Swish. At this moment, a pair of blue wings appeared behind Xuanji, like the ocean, like the sky, exuding a breath of freedom. It disappeared in the blink of an eye. The next moment, a sword slashed at the neck of the black-robed demon cultivator. Swish. The white bone banner trembled, wrapped around the Lihuo sword, and a white sword energy clashed with the red sword energy, colliding with each other, cancelling each other out and erasing each other. Bang bang bang. At this moment, a large tripod appeared in Lu Xuanji's hand. He grabbed a tripod foot with his left hand, and danced the bushinding in the air and smashed it down, like a brick, hitting his head. The black-robed demon cultivator was horrified, but not panicked. His right hand was changing drastically. His dry right hand turned golden, as if it was made of gold. Bang! The golden hand met the cauldron, and the two collided with each other, making a buzzing sound. The black-robed demon cultivator was bearing a huge impact, and stepped back 3 steps to relieve the impact. The force fell on the ground, and a huge footprint appeared. Lu Xuanji raised the cauldron again and smashed it down. The black-robed demon cultivator used his golden hand to resist, smashing it down again and again. Simple and violent. There is nothing that cannot be solved by one cauldron. If it doesn't work, then another one. After smashing it 10 times in a row, the golden hand faded, and the arm was broken. Crack. A cauldron smashed on the black-robed demon cultivator's head, and the watermelon shattered. It seemed unsafe, so it continued to smash down, one after another, until the body turned into meat paste, and then he was completely relieved. Chapter 72 The Demonic Cultivator's Secret Plot. Plop. The big cauldron fell to the ground with a crisp sound. At this moment, Lu Xuanji felt his arms slightly numb, some meridians and muscles were stretched and broken, and his whole body was slightly sore. From breaking the formation to killing the black-robed demon cultivator, it took less than 5 seconds. But the intensity of the battle was unprecedentedly fierce. This feeling was like a 100-meter sprint. All kinds of magic weapons, all kinds of unique skills, crackling, without any concealment, all burst out, smashed out at once, without holding back. Brother, he's dead. Yifixu said. Dead, but it's not safe here. Lu Xuanji recalled. The fierce battle was short, but it was a bit thrilling. If he hadn't attacked all at once, and caught the enemy off guard, the opponent would not have been able to react, and would not have had time to use various killing moves, and would have been killed by him. He might have been the one to die. The battle was over, and Lu Xuanji opened the storage bag, and began to search for some treasures. The magic weapons such as the bone thorn, bone sword, bone knife, zombie bell, etc. were destroyed directly. There were also 8,000 spirit stones, which were directly put into the storage bag. There were also red iron gold essence, black iron, secret silver, etc., totaling more than 100 kilograms, which seemed to be prepared for refining materials, and seemed to be used to make magic weapons, and also belonged to him. There were also 5 bottles of elixir. After checking, he could also use them, so he put them away directly. Finally, there was the second grade peak spiritual weapon, the bone banner, which was quite powerful. It could trigger zombie attacks, trigger ghost attacks, and devour the soul to improve cultivation. It was considered a good magic weapon. But Lu Xuanji hesitated for a moment, and urged the Skyfire to destroy it violently. Kaba. Kaba. The wronged souls on it made a hissing sound and were all burnt to ashes. Then, the formations on it, as well as the talismans, were all destroyed. He urged the true essence again and attacked with all his strength. The bone banner broke into 7 or 8 sections, scattered on the ground, and finally buried underground. Finally, check this town. After the demon cultivators, the village was completely slaughtered, leaving no one alive. After leaving here, Xuanji went to the nearby county town and notified his family to come and deal with the aftermath. At night, Xuanji looked through the storage bag, looking at the 5,000 spirit stones, some elixirs, and some refining materials, and felt indescribable joy in his heart. A man cannot be rich without unexpected wealth, and a horse cannot be fat without night grass. Relying on farming and refining elixirs at home, he only earned 300 to 500 spirit stones a year. But here, if you kill a demon cultivator at the 5th level of foundation building, you will immediately have 5,000 spirit stones in your account. If you add other property, you will have at least 8,000 spirit stones. No wonder cultivators like to kill demons and eliminate demons. It's not because of their sense of justice, but because the profit is too big and the money is too much. Every demon is a treasure boy. Killing a demon is equivalent to 10 years of income. Just thinking of the more than 5,000 civilians killed in the town, a faint sadness flashed through his mind, and the joy disappeared. Half a day later, in Xuanji Mountain, the elder looked solemn, holding a letter in his hand, which was Xuanji reporting about the demon cultivators. A demon cultivator appeared near Qingshu County. He is at the 5th level of foundation building. It seems that there is a big problem. The elder looked solemn, and a trace of uneasiness flashed in his eyes. For demon cultivators, the rule of Danliang sect is to kill one by one, without mercy. Every demon cultivator who wants to grow up must continue to kill. What is more frightening is that the demon cultivators upgrade very quickly during the killing. The immortal way pays attention to the foundation, and the demon way pays attention to speed. The demon cultivators build the foundation for 10 years, the purple mansion for 100 years, and the golden elixir for 200 years. The upgrade speed is faster than the heavenly spiritual roots. In the early stage, there are indeed shortcomings such as insufficient foundation, rapid heavenly tribulation in the later stage, and a large number of deaths. As a result, the number of demon cultivators who enter the golden elixir is far less than that of the immortal cultivators, and the demon cultivators who enter the nascent soul are even rarer. But the large number of them cannot be controlled. If the demon cultivators are not controlled, it will bring disaster to the immortal way. The elder picked up a pen and wrote to Danliang sect about the demon cultivators. Suddenly, he thought of something. He wrote the letter directly and put it into the flying sword. Swish. The flying sword grew a pair of wings and disappeared into a stream of light. This technique is called flying sword transmission. The speed is 1 km per second, and it only takes 3 hours to reach Danliang sect. In a cave in the wilderness, evil spirits gathered, and demonic spirits rose. About 20 demon cultivators gathered together. Each of them was full of evil spirits, but they were also afraid of each other. Among these demon cultivators, the worst was also a foundation building cultivator. The leading demon cultivator exuded a breath of destruction and had already stepped half a step into the purple mansion realm, but he was still a little short of it and failed to enter completely. This realm is called half-step purple mansion. This old demon's surname is Fang, and the world calls him Fang Laomo. At this time, Fang Laomo was holding a flying sword in his hand, and the flying sword had a pair of wings. The wings flapped, but it was difficult to break free from Fang Laomo's palm. Swish. With a touch of his palm, the sword was immediately sealed. A demon cultivator has appeared in Beacon County. The Lu family has already reported it to the Danliang sect. We don't have much time left. Old Demon Fang said, the Lu family was also a powerful Purple Mansion family in the past, with a Purple Mansion cultivator in charge. It was very famous, and had slain countless demons. I don't know how many demon cultivators died tragically at their hands. Now that the Lu family is weak, it's a perfect time for demon cultivators like me to run rampant. It's a perfect time to use their blood to forge our foundation. I plan to take action against the Lu family and destroy it. Whoever is in favor, whoever is against. Old Demon Fang said, revealing his white teeth. as gentle as a scholar. But the demon cultivators present said, "We are willing to listen to you, senior." Fang Laomo said, "The Lu family has only 5 cultivators. One is at the 8th level of foundation building, and I will deal with him. The remaining one is at the 3rd level of foundation building, and one is at the 5th level of foundation building. There are also 2 little kids who have just built their foundations. They have been in the foundation building stage for less than 10 years, and may still be at the 1st level of foundation building." Half an hour later, a demon cultivator will attack Beacon County. Here, sign the netherworld contract. If anyone violates it, he will be burned by the netherworld devil fire. He took out a piece of animal skin, which was based on animal blood, and engraved with ancient talismans. The iron pen and silver hook seemed to be communicating with a great existence. The netherworld contract is one of the supreme contracts of the demon path. Most demon cultivators are selfish. When fighting, they don't want to keep pace with the others, but want to hold back and harm their teammates. When confronting immortal cultivators, they often collapse at the first touch and suffer heavy losses. Later, the great demons set up the netherworld contract to constrain the cultivation of the demons so that they could work together to deal with the enemy at the moment of battle. On the animal skin, there were written division of labor, cooperation, profit distribution, etc., and the rules and regulations were extremely perfect. If there is no objection, you can sign it directly. Fang Laomo directly cut his finger and wrote his name on it with blood as ink. The blood merged into the ink and disappeared. Then, another demon came forward and wrote his name on it. In the end, Fang Laomo pointed his finger, and the animal skin suddenly ignited without fire and disappeared into the world. But many demons felt a supreme restraint that restricted everyone. If they violated it, they would be struck by thunder. Chapter 73, Heaven Replenishing Key. Beacon County, at night. Xuanji was sitting in meditation, practicing the Blue Lotus creation art. Suddenly, a stream of spiritual energy quickly entered his body and was quickly refined. This speed was more than 10 times faster than the key training period. But soon, he frowned. Because the spiritual energy outside was thin, the speed of cultivation was too slow. "I need more spiritual stones." Xuanji took out a spiritual stone and was about to practice. At this time, there was a knock on the door. "Brother, I can't sleep." Xuanji put away the spiritual stone and opened the door. It was Yifixu. Yifixu came forward and leaned on his arms, smelling the smell, and said, "Brother, I can't sleep." Xuanji said calmly, "What happened?" "Brother, I don't know what happened. My heart is panicking. When I was restless and meditating, I went astray several times." Yifixu said. When she said this, she felt a little strange. "Is it restless and uneasy? Is it going to happen?" "The mind is warning." Xuanji said, slightly uneasy. In the past, animals would run around before an earthquake because they are sensitive to danger. Humans, on the other hand, are slow to sense danger and cannot feel anything unusual. In the world of cultivation, some cultivators will feel uneasy on the eve of a crisis. This feeling of uneasiness is called a whim. Could it be that a demon cultivator will attack Beacon County tonight? Xuanji pondered, and his uneasiness was increasing. Thinking of the scene of encountering a demon cultivator in that small town during the day, most demon cultivators would quickly evacuate after slaughtering a town, so as not to be blocked by the righteous cultivators and be surrounded and killed on the spot. But that demon cultivator not only did not run away, but instead set up 1,000 corpse formation on the spot, trying to surround and kill him. This is not in line with common sense. The only explanation is that the demon cultivator has something to rely on. Many demon cultivators gathered from all directions and were about to gather near Beacon County. The town massacre was not an isolated incident, but a collective action. It's bad. Something big may happen. Xuanji took out a flying sword and left a letter on it. Swish. The flying sword grew wings and flew towards Changyuan Mountain. It was less than 500 miles from here to Changyuan Mountain. It only took 10 minutes for the flying sword to send a message to Changyuan Mountain. The flying sword disappeared. But Xuanji's uneasiness did not decrease, but increased. The flying sword might be intercepted halfway. If there is a war here, the elder will come to rescue. Yifixu comforted. It is precisely because the elder will come to rescue that I'm uneasy. Lu Xuanji said, the enemy is in the open, and we are in the dark. If the enemy ambush the elder halfway, the elder will be in danger. As if feeling uneasy, Lu Xuanji left here, and went directly to a remote corner in the west of the city. This is a quadrangle, but at this moment it is empty and looks extremely desolate. When he came to this courtyard, Lu Xuanji arrived at the back garden, and urged the seal. Suddenly, the ground trembled slightly, and a Taoist platform appeared. There is also a Taoist platform here. Was it designed by the elder? Yi Fixu asked curiously. Lu Xuanji said, in Beacon County, there are 2 Daote, one in the open, and one in the dark. The open Daote is in the Beacon County government office. It is commanded by a 9th level key training cultivator of the Lu family. He can control the formation of the entire county to resist the enemy, and the hidden Daote can trigger the ultimate killing formation. Only the clan leader and the great elder know that such an ultimate killing formation should never be used. As he said this, a trace of cruelty flashed in his eyes. It is best not to use the family's trump card. It is better not to use a trump card when it expires, because the moment of using it means that the family is in a desperate situation. I'm afraid that using the trump card may not necessarily win. Standing next to the Daote, Lu Xuanji sorted out the spells and the spiritual treasures on his body. Suddenly, he thought of the mobile phone and the function called Beidou Map. He opened the mobile phone, opened the screen, and opened Beidou Map. Suddenly, a picture appeared in the sea of consciousness, with complex terrain and a vast continent. Lu Xuanji's mind moved, and the map was shrinking. There appeared the 100,000 mountains, the Chu state, the Yu state, the endless forest, and so on. Then, it shrank again. Qingshu County, Beacon County. The county town appeared, and every alley, every house, every well, every shop, and so on in the county town were clearly visible. There were also some small dots flashing on it. White dots represented mortals. Yellow dots represented key training cultivators. Blue dots represented foundation building cultivators. In the county town Thunder, there were white dots, mainly mortals. There were also 7 or 8 yellow dots, which were cultivators of the Lu family, and some casual cultivators, and there were 4 blue dots, representing foundation building cultivators. No, there's a problem. Lu Xuanji sensed the location of the 4 blue dots, 2 of which were him and Yi Fixu. There were also 2 blue dots, located near the city lord's mansion. The map expanded again, and within 100 miles of the county town, there were about 20 densely packed blue dots, one of which had a faint red periphery, which looked particularly different. There are 2 foundation building demon cultivators lurking in the county town, and 20 foundation building demon cultivators lurking outside the county town, among which there is a half-step purple mansion demon cultivator. It's a bit troublesome. A trace of despair flashed in Lu Xuanji's eyes. 22 foundation building demon cultivators, and 1 half-step demon cultivator. They overestimated him. Even if the great elder came out of retreat, the chances of winning were slim. Xiaoxu, the situation is not good, Lu Xuanji said. Without hiding anything, he directly said the current dangerous situation. Brother, let's evacuate. Leave here, don't force yourself to hold on. Yi Fixu's face was also pale. More than 20 demon cultivators are going out together. This is a rhythm of exterminating my Lu family. The only safe strategy is to evacuate. Too late. Lu Xuanji sighed. If I can run away, I will definitely run away, but now the outside of the city has been blocked by demon cultivators, and running away is impossible. In the exploration of Beidou maps, the enemy blocked some important roads, cutting off the possibility of escape. Then let's fight. Kill 1 to get enough, kill 2 to make a profit. Yi Fixu said. Although she was afraid of death, she was not lacking in the courage to fight. Then let's fight. Lu Xuanji said. Instead of passive defense, it is better to take the initiative. Let's kill 2 demon cultivators first, and then kill the others. Beidou map. He knew himself and the enemy, and knew the details and positions of the enemy. But those demon cultivators did not know their details. This was a huge advantage. By the way, this is for you. Suddenly thinking of something, Lu Xuanji's palm appeared on the Bushanding. He opened the lid of the ding, and immediately a grey gas entered Yi Fixu's dinshan. Danshan is the vital point of the human body, and outsiders should not touch it easily. But Yifixu did not care, and let the grey breath enter the Danshan. The grey gas started from the Danshan, and wandered in the meridians of the body. Yifixu did not care much, but suddenly she was surprised. As the grey gas disappeared, the hidden injuries in the body disappeared, and the body was undergoing some subtle changes. The true energy flowed in the meridians, becoming more smooth and more free. What is this? It can actually repair the hidden injuries in the body, Yifixu said. I just discovered it this morning, Xuanji said, without hiding the truth. This morning, I put the zombies into the Bushanding, burned them with heavenly fire, and then transformed them into grey gas after the big cauldron transformed them. It seems that it can heal injuries. Throwing some monster corpses into it can also transform them into grey gas. This grey gas can be called Bushan Zenki. Congratulations, brother, for getting this treasure. With this treasure, you can expect to enter the Purple Mansion, Yifixu said, really happy for Xuanji. Bushanding is just a first-grade spiritual weapon, but Bushanding has two heaven-defying auxiliary functions. On the one hand, it can purify the true key and improve the purity of the true key. On the other hand, it can generate Bushan Zenki and repair the hidden injuries of the body. This is of great significance to the cultivators, who are determined to impact the Purple Mansion. Take this Bushan Zenki into your body, Xuanji said, injecting half of the Bushan Zenki into Yifixu's Danshan. With the Bushan Zenki, your injuries can be repaired. As long as you are not killed in one blow, you can survive. Yifixu nodded, and did not refuse. She had already regarded Xuanji as her Taoist partner. It was reasonable to take her Taoist partner's things. She directly suppressed the Bushan Zenki in her Danshan, and prepared to use it when fighting. Chapter 74, Demon Cultivator attacks the city. In the night, about 100 meters away from the city lord's mansion, there is a courtyard. This courtyard seems remote and quiet, with tall and deep trees, standing there like a huge umbrella. In the northwest corner of the courtyard, there are peonies in full bloom, swaying in the night, graceful and elegant, exuding a hint of fragrance. At this time, it was past midnight. The courtyard was quiet and peaceful, and the black-robed man put on his clothes and waited slowly. In the room, there lived a wealthy family, a family of 13 and 20 slaves, but they were all asleep and could never wake up. Interesting, tonight there will be a river of blood, the black-robed man said, his eyes turned blood red, with a hint of excitement. I can eat and drink again. Swish. At this moment, a sword appeared in the void, with an extremely fast speed, stabbing towards his Danshan. The sword exuded red, like a burning phoenix, burning. The man in black robe was horrified. A shield appeared in front of him, blocking the flying sword. Ding ding dang dang. The flying sword stabbed continuously, and the shield blocked it, making a crisp sound. At this moment, a large tripod appeared, and smashed towards his head. The speed was too fast. The man in black robe had no time to dodge, and waved his fist to block it. The bones broke on the spot, and then the big tripod hit his head, and the watermelon broke into pieces, and the watermelon pulp was scattered all over the ground. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, a man in black appeared in the void, and it was Xuanji. On the periphery of the courtyard, waves of light films were surging, and 9 flags were running, endlessly, resisting the shock wave of the battle. Although the battle was fierce, the breath did not leak out. The sneak attack was successful, and a demon cultivator was successfully sniped. With a wave of his hand, Xuanji directly put the corpse of the demon cultivator into the Bushanding, and burned it with heavenly fire. There were 2,000 spirit stones in it, which were stored in the storage bag. There was no time to count them, and he continued to look for new hunting targets. Silently, he approached the target. Xuanji just approached and planned to launch a sneak attack, but at this moment, a terrifying demonic energy surged, and a 1.5 meter long blood-colored demon knife appeared, with a series of evil spirits, death energy, murderous energy, corpse energy, etc. gathered on it, carving a blood-colored demon god pattern. Buzz buzz buzz. The blood-colored demon knife was shaking, and the sharp sound of piercing, with a piercing cry, turned into waves of demonic sound sweeping over. In the night, this destructive demon knife was brewing. It walked out of the void, changed from the darkness, and turned into the eternal only, chopping the head of the immortal Xuanji. Swish. The next moment, the wings of freedom behind Xuanji were flapping, adding to his body, turning into a terrifying speed, and dodged the fatal knife in a split second. But, at this moment, Xuanji saw the owner of the magic knife. A burly man, 2 meters tall, looked mighty and tall. He had a long beard on his chin, which was very messy and disorderly, and looked dark and hard. He was wearing a set of armor, which was green, and had rust on it, and looked vicissitudes and ancient. When he appeared, a faint pressure emanated, and there was murderous aura in the pressure. This murderous aura was not the murderous aura accumulated by slaughtering the weak, it was the supreme murderous intent tempered by fighting again and again on the battlefield, fighting again and again, and fighting life and death again and again. 6th level of foundation building. Xuanji's pupils shrank slightly, and he felt a little tricky. The enemy was a little powerful, and he was actually at the 6th level of foundation building. This was a tough guy. It's a pity that fellow Taoist actually entered the devil's way. Xuanji said with a little regret. I was forced to do this by you self-proclaimed righteous cultivators. The burly man snorted coldly. Back then, I had 5 spiritual roots, and entered the world of cultivation, thinking I would become an immortal master. But who would have thought that 5 spiritual roots were just useless spiritual roots, and were treated as waste. After 100 years of hard training, I was only at the 5th level of key training. The immortal path doesn't allow me, so I joined the demon path. After joining the demon path, I made rapid progress. In just 30 years, I have entered the 6th level of foundation building, and there is hope for the purple mansion in the future. Since the demon path is my way out, why don't I give up the immortal path and join the demon path? Xuanji was speechless and speechless. What he said made so much sense that he was speechless. Well, then I will send you to death. Xuanji said calmly. Swish. The next moment, his figure disappeared and appeared on the left side of the burly man, stabbing with a sword. The burly man, the magic knife in his hand changed and slashed down to the left. Swish. With a loud noise, the sword slashed at Xuanji's body, but there was no blood splashing, only a broken shadow. After image. The burly man was horrified. At this moment, a flying sword appeared and stabbed at his forehead. Between life and death, a shield appeared and blocked the position of the forehead, resisting the stab of the flying sword. Swish. In an instant, Xuanji disappeared again, attacking from another direction, and the Lihuo sword followed him like a shadow, like a maggot on the tarsal bone, attacking continuously. The speed was so fast that it exceeded the capture of vision. The movement was flowing, and it gave a fatal blow in the blink of an eye. Only a faint blue light flashed, which was a continuous stab. Splashing wind sword technique. After the initial panic, the burly man actually closed his eyes, and the blood-red longsword in his hand was dancing, like splashing water, impenetrable, relying on the feeling to chop up and down. The sword technique is endless, killing everything, tearing all obstacles. Swish. Xuanji urged the wings of freedom and attacked continuously, but several attacks were blocked, and it was difficult to break through the defense. Swish. Fast against fast, 100 moves passed in the blink of an eye. Xuanji panted slightly, and his true essence consumed more than 5 layers, and he was a little exhausted. Ghost Evil Yin Thunder. At this moment, the burly man smiled coldly, and took out a dark golden thunderball. Inside, there were wronged souls roaring, and the yin evil spirits were condensing. The yin evil and ghosts were cleverly integrated in a wonderful way, presenting an extremely strange state. Swish. At this moment, the ghost evil yin thunder was thrown out. The fragile balance inside was immediately broken, and the force of destruction swept over. The evil spirits and the spirits of wronged souls swept over, and drowned Xuanji. Not good. Xuanji felt the crisis of death. His eyebrows were beating violently, the front was dim and the road ahead was cut off. There was no way out. Swish. Xuanji crushed the jade talisman, and suddenly runes were flying, and the purple energy gathered, and turned into a hemispherical shield to resist the front. Crack. Crack. The two energies collided with each other, and the shockwave of the yin thunder tore the purple shield, and the remaining force rushed over. At this moment, Xuanji disappeared. Boom boom boom. The ghost evil and thunder exploded violently, and the force of the explosion hit the concealing formation, instantly tearing the formation, and the 18 formation flags were broken. Puff. Along with the tearing of the concealing formation, Yifixu, who controlled the formation, was also impacted, spitting out blood on the spot, and was slightly injured. The mountains remain green, the rivers flow forever, and we'll see you someday. The burly man laughed loudly, and disappeared in a flash. Chapter 75. In despair. Outside the city, more than 20 demon cultivators were waiting for the signal to attack. A violent noise came from the county town, and the fluctuations of the battle came. Without the concealing formation, the information became transparent. It's bad. Their plan failed. Fang Laomo was slightly surprised. Originally, he planned to break the city defense formation and break through the county town with the help of internal and external forces, but now it has failed. The plan remains the same. 5 demon cultivators attack the county town, and the remaining demon cultivators set up a killing formation to intercept the Lu family reinforcement. Fang Laomo became calm in an instant, and the orders remained unchanged. Not good. At this moment, Changyuan Mountain. The elder felt the violent fluctuations of magic, and took out a jade pendant, which had already broken. Something happened in Beacon County. The elder had already left the cave, and after telling the cultivators at home to take care of the house, he hurried away, and the first 5 rescued Beacon County. Beacon County is less than 300 miles away from Changyuan Mountain. At his speed, it only takes less than 5 minutes to get there. Swish. Stepping on the flying sword, the flying sword was like lightning, heading towards Beacon County. Swish. Halfway along the way, suddenly a huge black lightning struck down from the sky. The lightning was like a knife, cutting vertically and horizontally. The elder's figure flashed, avoiding the lightning and killing, and his figure could not help but pause. But at this moment, the void was slightly changing, and 14 foundation building demon cultivators appeared. They each held a formation flag, wandering and changing, standing in different corners, setting up a supreme killing formation. It was the blood transforming demon formation. Woo woo woo. As the formation took shape, black mist and blood colored evil spirits entangled together, filling the formation space. Swish. One after another, black magic thunder struck down, sweeping down, drowning everything. A green long sword appeared in the elder's hand. The long sword was shaking, and a trace of Zhengjin Qi burst out, sharp and unparalleled. The flying sword slashed out, and the black lightning melted away. Swish. The flying sword stabbed continuously, at an extremely fast speed and extremely steady, constantly devouring and refining the black lightning. 18 consecutive lightning strikes were all dissolved by the flying sword. Swish. At this moment, a demon cultivator entered the killing array, and a blood-colored magic knife in his hand, slashed down in the air. The bloody aura filled the space, and the sound of ghosts crying filled the ears. Another flying sword appeared in the left hand of the elder, slashing at the magic knife. Swish. The violent sound of metal collision and the harsh friction disappeared. The elder flew backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood, and said in horror, "Half-step purple mansion." Fang Laomo's expression did not change, and the blood transforming magic in his hand surged with blood, like a flood of blood, and continued to slash at the elder's neck. The elder held a sword in each hand, one flashing with the power of Zhengjin, and the other flashing with the power of Lihuo. The two swords joined together, the sword shadows flashed continuously, changing from real to fake, and the sharp sword energy tore through the sea of blood, even cutting several bloody wounds on Fang Laomo's body. Hoo-hoo. The elder panted slightly, and laughed. Fang Laomo, you are a half-step purple mansion, but you actually attacked me. Do you still have any shame? Not only that, you 15 foundation building demon cultivators set up a large formation to surround and kill me, an 8th level foundation building cultivator. Do you still have any shame? Haha, what's the use of face? I have lost my shame a long time ago. I'm a half-step purple mansion, and I can certainly defeat you, but it is a little difficult to kill you. If you use some trump cards, I may be overturned and killed by you. If you can use 10 points of strength to kill the enemy, don't use 3 points of strength to show off. Fang Laomo sneered, and while talking, he attacked, and his moves were fierce and decisive. Your Lu family is also a 1000-year-old clan. Hurry up and use your trump cards. You may be able to kill me. If you don't have any trump cards, I can only kill you first and then destroy the Lu family. Fang Laomo showed a fierce look. The other demon cultivators also grinned and looked at the Lu family elder like a sheep waiting to be slaughtered. It seemed to be saying, hurry up and use your trump cards. Hurry up and use your killing moves. A trace of despair flashed in the elder's eyes. He still had some trump cards. But these trump cards were not enough to break out of the siege. The real trump cards had been used up in Xiang Mountain. 14 foundation building demon cultivators, 1/2 step purple mansion, surrounded and killed him, a cultivator of the 8th level of foundation building. They looked down on him too much. The Lu family was going to suffer a catastrophe. This disaster was more dangerous than the last battle of Xiang Mountain. On Xiang Mountain, although the old ancestor Yan Yang was extremely fierce and killed most of the Lu family cultivators, he was a righteous cultivator after all and would not attack mortals. But these demon cultivators have no such taboos. After killing all the Lu family cultivators, they will also attack the mortals of the Lu family, sacrifice hundreds of thousands of mortals with blood, refine them into demon soldiers, and improve their magic skills. I will fight, the elder said with a resolute breath. Kill 1 to get back the capital, kill 2 to make a profit. A purple thunderball appeared in his palm, and he urged the spell to draw the power of Zhengjin inside, and exploded towards Fang Laomo. Boom boom boom. The destructive breath of Zhengjin God Thunder swept everything. Just waiting for your trump card. Fang Laomo grinned, a jade talisman in his hand shattered, and fled 5 miles away in an instant, avoiding the thunderball. Zhengjin God Thunder tore through the blood transforming demon formation, and the 14 demon cultivators were injured and vomited blood. But they were only injured and vomited blood. Who would not be injured in a fight? They could still continue to fight. Old man, go to hell. At this moment, Fang Laomo grinned and swung the blood transforming divine sword, intending to sacrifice the blood of the great elder to the demon sword. The quality of the demon sword will surely be greatly improved. In Beacon County, the formation started to operate. Waves of water were running continuously, covering the entire county. Outside the county, 6 demon cultivators appeared, and they all used their ultimate killing techniques to attack the county. The blood-colored demon sword slashed down, as if to create the world. The black demon fire spread across the night sky, burning everything. The blood-colored banner swept everything, and the sea of blood spread across the sky. The blood-colored sword spread across the sky, and the murderer saw a sword to the sky. The blood-colored skeletons roared, making sharp roars. The white bone demon god stood tall, punching the city wall with his fists. Boom boom boom. The city wall was crumbling, and the city defense formation was almost broken. Xuanji looked at this scene, and a trace of despair flashed in his eyes. The enemy is very powerful, much more powerful than imagined. Under such an attack, the city defense formation will not last long, and will be broken. Xiaoxu, if the city defense formation is broken, don't fight. I will hold them back. You try your best to escape. Xuanji said sadly. Brother, we live and die together. Yifixu said firmly. Foolish, how foolish. Xuanji said, legend has it that there are immortals who can reverse life and death and revive the dead from the endless nothingness. If I die, you can't die. I'm still waiting for you to become an immortal and revive me. Brother. Yifixu said, tears falling. These are comforting words. How can they be taken seriously? At this moment, another wave of attacks came, and the formation was hit and shaky. It can only hold on for 10 minutes at most, and the formation will be broken. By then, the 100,000 mortals in the city will all become blood food for the demon cultivators. Brother, it won't happen. The Great Elder will come to rescue in a moment. As long as the Great Elder comes, he can easily kill the demon cultivators. Save us. Yifixu said firmly. I hope the Great Elder won't come. Xuanji said, since the demon cultivators have taken action, they must have gathered many cultivators, at least more than 20. It would be fine if the Great Elder didn't come, but if he did, he would be killed here. If the Great Elder didn't come, but stayed in Changyuan Mountain, could the Lu family be saved? Yifixu asked, looking forward to it eagerly. No. Xuanji spoke up and said, with more than 20 demon cultivators taking action, even if Changgyuan Mountain is defended, it won't last long. If the demon cultivators don't take action, it's fine, but once they do, it's a thunderbolt, and they won't give the Lu family any chance of survival. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the formation was shaking. Crack. Cracks appeared in the formation, and the formation pattern on the city wall was broken. A hole was broken in the formation. Kill. The 6 demon cultivators grinned and rushed into the county town. The delicious meal has been set, and you can enjoy it to your heart's content. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.